All right, so how's it going, everybody? I hope you're doing well here. We are getting ready to go here for our stream tonight. Just a couple of quick announcements before we get started, kind of like usual here. It's Miller Time 01 and BS Phoenix 86. Thank you guys for the follows. We have, let's see, Civil War Alliance 7:30 on Saturday. Continuation, that is session 2 of our 2 campaign game that we have going on. Don't forget there is no D&D Sunday thanks to football, and it's going to interrupt us. So unfortunately the sports ball will take over for the night and we will not be playing. And then we have Civil War Empire back on Wednesday the 7th, 7:30 start time as well. All of our D&D games are now starting at 7:30. So it makes it kind of simple and easy for everybody to remember here. Other than that, we are pretty much all set to go. I think everybody over in chat is ready to go. Let me take a listen in. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. So we're going to hop over into Discord and get things going here. All right, here we go, guys. Time to get this game started.
Oh, I'm gonna push stop quickly.
Diarrhea conversation while he's streaming, at least. While you're streaming.
That's nasty.
There's layers in there. It's like an onion.
That's nasty.
That's nasty. All right, Ruckus, go ahead and get us our recap of last session.
Right. I believe we ventured out to search the smoke in the fields after leaving Greenest. Me and Scott went forward to a canyon pass where backtrack. Did we fuck up a camp?
Yeah, there was a small camp. Take better notes, Scrub. You'll know what happens next week.
It's only been a week.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all essentially, you left Greenest after confirming with each other, and Governor Nighthill, rather, sorry. Talked to him about what was going on. He requested that you go chase down this group of bandits that assaulted the town of Greenest. He wanted more information, things like why they did this, who they are, what their goals are. Seemed too organized for just a loose set of bandits. As you were getting prepared afterwards, you were approached by a young half-elf, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Was he half-elf?
I think it was a half-elf.
You mentioned.
You may not have.
But he basically beseeched you to look for his master, Theosin, what second name that hard to pronounce.
Nessun.
It was Leosin
Moradra.
Yeah. Beseeched you to go see if he was captured by the bandits as well, by this cult of the dragon that he referred to. Said that this man may have a lot of information about the people that you're seeking out, so you decided to keep a wary eye out for him. Thus you set off, went after, following the very easy and discernible trail of the bandits, chasing after him. As you traveled most of the day, starting to get to the evening hours, you came across a single campfire, went in, found a very loose group of kind of stragglers, and made short work of them. After doing so and getting no information, since you didn't leave anybody alive, you continued on and ended up running into, namely, Steve and
Hey, Jeff, how's
Arun
it going,
ran
man?
into a group of much better prepared stronger individuals, and you commenced a very bloody and almost deadly fight with them. Barely got out of it, slaying everybody there, and you decided to rest for the night. And that's where we're going to pick up today. It's getting to the waning hours of the morning, so it's about an hour or so before dawn, kind of finishing up your long rest, and that is where we're going to start.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna imagine that resting, fitfully. I was wounded quite severely in the last foray, and I imagine I'm going to awake at the beginning of dawnlight by like turning over and retching out of my bedroll, just feeling over scars and wounds. I imagine it's loud enough to wake everyone else up from their slumber as well, whoever was sleeping.
I imagine Stone Skull sitting over by the fire, kind of taking a grinding stone to his great sword, just slowly trying to get it straightened back out and ready to go before they head out.
Kind of. Oh, keep going. Sorry, I'll give everybody a shout.
No, I was just to say, everyone's probably sitting on whatever the tallest rock close to the campfire is, just finishing up a meditation, because, 4 hours sleep and so on.
I'm going to come down and sit down by the campfire and grumble. I don't even know why y'all had me take watch.
Well,
hey, you're probably the best one to be doing watch, to be honest.
Did you at least see anything?
I can't see anything.
It never gets old.
Just like wiping my mouth on the side. Did you feel anything?
No presence other than small animals.
Damien? Don't want to steamroll over you.
I'm gonna walk down and sit next to Tara. Well, after last night, I guess it's a good thing no one found us.
I'm surprised they don't have roaming parties looking for us.
It wouldn't surprise me. We seem to have made a name for ourselves.
Well, at this rate, we're going to alert the entire army, and with that, it's kind of double back over and retch. Except this time, instead of just like spittle, it's almost like magma, firing up out of my mouth, singeing the grass around me as I cough and spit out.
That doesn't look very healthy.
I don't think that we should try and fight our way through this entire army.
Well, what do you recommend? As I'm saying that, I'm going to kind of lean over and touch the ground at his feet and use prestidigitation to move use mold earth to move the dirt and put out the fires.
Yeah, like the embers. I like that. With that, I kind of sit up and, squinting like one eye, look over at a rune. Oh, how about that shield? Would you mind if I use that?
Hmm? Oh, I'm sorry, Max. Yeah. The shield, you spend more time up there than I do. I'd be glad to give it to you.
I
grab it
put
and
my hand up.
toss it over to you.
Grab it and kind of sit up and slide my hand through the straps on the inside. I think we need to go about as I'm kind of analyzing and looking at the shield as it sits on my arm, looking at it. I think we need to go about our tactics slightly differently. I feel like they're moving towards an objective, towards a goal. I think our best bet would be to wait to see where they end up and then report back to Governor Knight. Oh, sorry. Report back to the governor and make our determination on what to do from there.
I'm just kind of running my hand through the dirt. Yes, but we should also seek out Leo Spin somehow, and if we could get him back, we could get a lot of information, I believe. If he's really been undercover, he may be able to tell us exactly what we need to know about officer placement and everything inside the camp as well.
I kind of nod and look to the others around the camp for, acknowledgement.
I kind of nod, just a little sullenly, but I agree with the plan.
We can't get answers from dead men. So
we need to be a little more cautious when we go ahead. I'll try my best to protect you, but there's no guarantees. But I will do all I can to make sure that you don't fall again.
I appreciate that, big man. I also think we're going to need to use your talents more sparingly. With that, kind of look around and I also feel as if I need to be more honest with you. I haven't been as forthcoming as I'm not quite sure what it all means. Kind of look up and put my hand up in front of me. While this hand resembles that of Dragonkin, I have memories of being more. I believe that at some point in a previous life, I was in fact a dragon. Sorry, Steph's coming home. I had to mute myself.
Anybody?
Some major information just got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he looks, so I'm not reacting.
And why do you believe that you're a dragon? Or you used to be a dragon? And what would have happened that would have made you change that?
I have not just memories, but feelings of what I used to be. I was, and kind of, shake my head, I want to make the quizzical look, but, to everyone, that I was more than I am and was expelled. I was made to be this as punishment. With that, you kind of drain off, or you get kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like resolve. You kind of introspection. Like I'm just kind of thinking, as I kind of let that thought kind of carry.
Why do you sound confused when you say all?
None of it makes much sense, as I don't remember it clearly. I just know that I came to be near Greenest with the intention of doing good to earn my place. Again, start like kind of scratching the back of my head and base of my neck, and examining the gashes from combat in like my leather armor, and look up to the rest of the group and say, I don't feel as if what we're doing now is furthering that, but I feel like we're all entwined in this together.
Well, we definitely all have connections to this place or these people.
I don't understand exactly what that is, but I don't believe that us throwing ourselves against the superior force will gain us any answers. If anything, I think it will just move us farther away from the truth and from the answers that we all seem to seek.
I lean back against the rock that Arun is sitting on top of and kind of cross my hands behind my head, seemingly staring off at nothing. So how do we get the man that we want with the information that we need without alerting an entire army?
I think staying at a far enough distance, while maintaining attaining a look over at you at first, then up at Arun, eye contact is going to be the best way. We have to gain information, and the only way to do that is by remaining unseen. Kind of look over at Steve. I think we're all going to need to rely on one another to be as strong as we can be together. Kind of sit up and prop myself up. I feel as if moving quickly.
Oh, rip.
Rip right in the middle of that.
That's what he gets for having feelings.
Sorry about that. Apparently, I was trying to hit the back button and I hit the end chat button.
Too emotive.
No, to move quickly, move quietly, and gain as much information as we can. If we come across smaller forces, I believe interrogation will probably be the best. But if we come across a force that we don't believe that we can handle, perhaps it would be the most wise choice to avoid confrontation until we know exactly what we're up against.
I don't think quick is our problem. Quietly might be. And as I say that, I kind of pound on the side of Stone Skull's armor on his leg with my fist.
Since we've been here, since we've been on the trail, I felt a connection growing stronger, not only to what we're doing, but internally. I feel as if we're on the right path. We just need to do so with more thought and less recklessness.
All right, Abram kind of comes out of his little bit of a daze and says, the power of a former dragon is nothing to sneeze at. I do agree with your assessment. We should be giving this a bit more thought. That considering marching head forward into the horde of a dragon or potential dragon. No, we've seen one. We know there's dragons about.
Right.
Yeah, is but a fool's errand. I'm sure we all have things to accomplish here that require a more tactful approach than simply cutting our way to the end.
Stone Skull kind of raises his eyebrow a little bit and kind of looks up at you and says, "I'm here for revenge, friend. These dragons took everything from me. I don't care much for anything other than that."
No.
Go ahead.
You go. Do you think? No.
Okay. I was gonna say I can promise you much bloodshed, but there's one in particular that I need to find, and well, I'm not so sure anymore, but I came here to rescue her, and I'm still going to try to do just that.
We all seem to have our reasons to be here. We all seem to be searching or something or someone. And I don't think it helps our cause at all if we wind up dead before we get any of the answers that we seek.
I think we all agree there. Now the question remains how. How do we go about this?
Well, I think the first step is avoiding our paths of confrontation, taking a wider berth to this larger entity. We know they can't move quickly, so they can't outpace us. But I think keeping our distance is paramount.
If it helps make things easier, I can fall behind a little bit and allow you guys to get a little closer.
I think you and Terra, or rather, I think you should be responsible for Terra's movement and keeping her far enough back. And with that, I kind of turn towards Terra, but make a motion like with the heels of my feet to like adjust my sitting position so she can sense that I'm turning towards her.
I kind of look up in his general direction.
I imagine you're looking just a little off, like a little above me.
Those two.
Right. With that, I look and say I hesitate to say disability puts you at a disadvantage in this particular field.
I agree, and I
back.
can help protect Stone Skull here. We all know he needs me.
Stone Skull kind of chuckles a little bit.
It's cute that you think that. With that saying, well, then I think that makes you our rear guard. The three of us can move forward. With that, I kind of flex my hand. Let me say, I believe I have the tools now that will make our job significantly easier.
So shall we get a move on and start tracking down our cult in front of us?
I imagine, what kind of sword or what kind of shield did you have, Scott?
I mean, as far as it goes, nothing special. Probably just a smaller, a smaller side shield meant to be used with a single blade.
Well, I meant, like, is there shield differences, or is it just a shield's a shield?
Nope.
A shield,
No, just a shield.
Yep.
+2. Congrats.
Well, I look at it and I imagine instead of putting my blade in the sheath, like sliding it down in between like the straps and my forearm down the back of the blade, so it's held in one hand. And kind of sheath it up, and, look at it and say, well, I believe it's time to. And you're looking up at the sun. It's almost dawn. I believe it's time that we clear camp and start getting closer to our quarry.
I'll get up from my boulder and jump off. Agreed.
Steven?
I agree.
And Stone Skull stands and sheathes his blade and nods to the party that he's prepared and ready.
All right. So as you kind of conclude your rest, dawn is just breaking in the distance. You're able to look around and see your surroundings much better than in the pitch black of night. As you look around back in the direction where the evening previous, you saw the smoke trails from various fires off in the distance. You see you're pretty much on track. You see the same amount of fires for the most part, though burning less intensely due to the no need for campfires and such during the day. But you're able to see the remnants of the smoke lies about a mile or so is what you're kind of gauging away from you, with a easy enough path to follow.
Is your shield metal or wood?
Metal.
Okay. Perfect. As I kind of, get up and pack my bedroll up and pack it back into, my backpack as I get it adjusted, tighten down the straps and be ready to, kind of balancing the new heft of the shield on my arm. Be prepared for everyone to move out when everyone's ready.
I also gather my things and kind of stand next to. So, what do you want to do? Do you want to make up walking songs?
Well, I mean, I could tell you a story of how I got my greatsword.
I would love that.
Oh god, I'm so glad.
As they start talking, I'm gonna put my arms over the shoulders of Steve and Aaron and start like walking us forward at a distance. Like I said, rear guard. Let's move forward.
God.
All right. How far back is the rear guard staying behind everyone?
I mean,
What's
like
your
100
movement,
yards.
Stone Skull?
30.
Like a good distance, like the.
So
Like
he's a big dude.
50 feet or so. 50 to 100 feet.
I would say
Yeah.
60, so that if you need to in one turn, you can double move.
Yep, I
No,
can do
even
that.
farther than that. Like,
Alright.
I like even if it takes them more than one round to get up there, that's fine. But I feel like what's average vision distance? I guess I don't really know.
I do not have night vision or dark vision.
Okay, yeah, then whatever. We're in the daylight. We're moving during the day.
Yep.
We're not moving at night.
Yeah, I mean, you can see kind of far as long as the foliage or hills or things of that nature aren't blocking your vision.
Yeah, you want to just keep at the very edge of your distance. So whatever that is. I mean, if you want to just make like an arbitrary number.
Yeah, I mean, I would
How
say
far
like
out do you get?
you could generally move
120
into.
feet.
I mean, generally moving through this terrain, as long as you stay within 100 feet or so of each other, you'll pretty much be able to keep eyes on.
Cool. So 100 feet.
100 feet it is.
Yep, that's within bow range.
All right.
All right, so y'all are venturing towards the
Closest
smoke
campfire.
trails. Are y'all doing anything special? Trying to stay out the path, being sneaky? What are y'all doing?
We're going to move single file with a rune pulling up the rear. So this is my idea. Is moving about 20 feet separate with Steve moving up and like leading, then me in the middle and a rune behind me in a single file column.
Okay.
And then
Moving
back
in a single file
behind,
to higher numbers.
I'm staying somewhat close enough to Tara so she can kind of feel where we're walking to and she can follow behind. And then every now and then Stone Skull's going to turn around and just check behind him, just trying to keep an eye on it. But I'm going to follow directly in the footsteps of the group in front of us.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off the road.
Yeah, Jeff, right
but,
now we're
like,
in the middle
following
of
just
our
off the side of the path that they're
long
making,
rest.
like this larger group.
Doing some story
So it's a
stuff
clear,
and
like,
getting
sign,
prepped
but,
for
keeping
what we're
the
actually
more
going into
dense
next.
brush
This was just
immediately next to
a
you so you can
blank
duck
battle
into it if
sheet so that
necessary.
we could have a fight
Okay.
in the last game. We're still on that same map.
All right, so as you continue on, like I said, there's a good amount of dense brush in the area, a lot of rocky hills kind of leading up, but the brush and the grass and such like that are, average 4 to 6 feet tall. So it gives you a good amount of cover, especially if you're staying off this makeshift path that the larger group created as they were moving through there. So you have good cover as you're moving through, able to keep decent line of sight on each other, just in the kind of new paths that you're forging through as you're moving through there. As you start to get closer, you're about about 300 feet or so from where you can kind of tell these smoke trails going into the sky. You begin to hear kind of cacophonous noises. It sounds like a large group of people are milling about and making noise. Let's see, we've got Max, Steve, and who else is in the front party?
Aaron.
Aaron. Okay.
Yep.
And then the other two are back behind. Okay, so you three come up, and as you're kind of getting closer, I imagine you're kind of trying to be a little bit more sneaky, staying to the bushes and such. As you start getting closer to this, like I said, very ever-growing, louder noises and such of what sounds like a large camp.
Knowing what kind of creatures inhabit this, I'm going to kind of motion to Steve to listen, because we should be able to understand what's going on, or what at least some of
That
the
bot
commotion.
can stop. Time to pause that thing.
And as you move to this new area, you will be up in the top right of it.
Okay, that bot's done.
Oh, okay.
Enable the other bot now, I guess.
All right, so as you begin approaching this area, you see a sheer cliff in front of you at the edge of the brush and grass and such. You see that it appears to be some kind of gully that almost resembles a horseshoe kind of in its shape. It looks like there's only one easy path in on the far northwest side of it.
Way up here.
As you're kind of examining around and seeing into the area as well as further on, since it's much easier to see from this elevation.
Look at all
You
these
see
guys. Holy
off to
shit.
your south slightly a guard tower that looks like it has a couple of people walking every once in a while, and then they sit down. They don't seem to be really paying attention much to their surroundings. You see another guard tower a little further up to your west, in between you and the easy entrance into the area. However, as you start to look inside this canyon itself, you see at least 150 to 200 people milling about, repairing weapons. You see a few blacksmiths working on things of that nature. You see a few horses and carriages lined up. They seem to be squatting. The carriages especially seem to be squatting on the ground a little bit inside the dirt and mud of the area. And back towards the northwest where the entrance is, you see people freely entering and leaving. Various people that you've seen up to this point wearing different garb, haphazardly put together clothing. Doesn't seem to be uniform in any form, shape, or fashion. They just seem to be walking in and out jovially and sullenly, every mixture that you can imagine. And you see a few mixed in there, some kobolds that are walking in and out, as well as a few of the people that you've seen in the kind of blackish purple garb that you've come to understand as the cultists of this area. Seems like nobody's checking them as they enter and leave this northwest area. Seems to be very haphazard and unorganized, but it definitely resembles a camp of some sort, and it seems to be semi-permanent, almost nomadic with it. They've got tents and of varying sizes, everything from small ones that you would expect to be of living quarters to larger ones that may contain everything from command rooms for officers to a place just to go and sit down and be a makeshift bar to drink, which you do see a few people walking around with giant pints of ale, celebrating joviously as they wander around the camp. Yeah, just everything you would expect to find in a large encampment for an army is ever present below you.
Can I ask how tall this guard tower is?
The one to your south, they're both about 20 or so feet off the ground. They were kind of just makeshift, put in there to kind of give a little bit of elevation. However, at both of them, you see that the supposed guards, people that you would assume are guarding, supposed to be looking out and everything, are not really paying attention.
With that, I'll I kind of turn to Aaron and whisper, "How good is your eyesight?"
I'm gonna peer off in the direction he's, pointing myself at, and I'll say, "Eyes of an elf, after all."
Kind of, create a wry smile with that, and can you tell if any of them were wearing cultist garb in that tower?
All right. Perception check, Havoc?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yes, I do.
Nice. So, as you look down to this one to your kind of southwest, you see that there are nobody really wearing the livery of the dark purple or blackish kind of uniformity that you've assumed or seen before, rather. These seem to be wearing the kind of haphazardly thrown together garb, which may explain why they're possibly not paying attention to much. These could be like mercenaries hired by the cult to be some extra manpower and such, so they don't really give a shit about the area. They just want the loot. As you look down towards the mouth of this gully down that direction where the other guard tower is, it takes you a second as you're actually looking. You don't see anybody walking back and forth. As you kind of look at it and peer it a little bit harder, you see the small kind of tipped red tops of kobolds are actually manning this other one. You notice every once in a while, a kobold will step on, you assume, a box or a step stool of some kind to peer over the side and look around briefly before disappearing back down. It seems like this guard tower was not designed for kobold's height in mind, so they're having to make do with checking randomly off of a box or something of that nature.
Little short guys.
So I'm going to relay that back to them, noting that the guard tower closer to us appears to be filled with brigands. No cultist among them, but still worth, keeping an eye out for. And then I'll make note that the one on the far end of camp does have kobolds inside of it, but they seem to be paying or having a little bit more trouble, keeping an eye on their surroundings because of the height. But I think the question still remains, even knowing this, how are we going to safely get to that entrance? Get down into that camp without drawing them all upon us.
This other guard tower is on this ridge, right? Oh, come on. I don't know why it won't click.
This one?
Yep.
Select a roof.
Yeah, one is there,
My browser's like frozen.
and
The
then
other's down here.
to the west is down in that area. Yeah, that. What you're pointing at right there.
Oh, gotcha. I guess the question is, do we act with aggression, or do we continue to watch?
Okay. I was about to ask how many guys were in that closer tower.
There, that makes it a little bit easier to see things.
I think it's important for us to have a plan before we act. Even if the men in the guard towers are supposed to be keeping watch, eventually watches change, or someone will be curious to know why they can't see them ever.
So right now,
With that, I kind of nod and look back, see where does it look like they're going from here?
right now we're not gonna move. We're gonna wait until
With
they
that, I
move
mean,
more
like
into
the
position.
entire encampment. Does this look like a permanent encampment or a semi-permanent encampment?
It appears to be semi-permanent. Like I said, as you actually give me a perception check, party that's in the front.
Good perception checks.
We're able to receive
right.
things very well.
All right, yeah. So as you're kind of looking around trying to determine if this is a staging point or where they're going to be leaving soon or not, you kind of look around. You see up in this area, so generally just this entire area towards the mouth, the tents and such are, kind of made of closely spaced wooden or bone poles covered in hide, mud, and sod. The ones up to the northwest seemed a little bit more shanty-ish, kind of crappily made, hastily put together. You see a lot of people of this varying garb, who you would kind of assume to be mercenaries, wandering this area. As you get closer, this whole area, just another side note, from the northwest to the southeast is slightly climbing in elevation. So it's kind of an uphill until it gets down to this-ish area. As you progress further up, about halfway, you see the camps are a little bit more, the tents rather, are more uniform, a little bit more nicely made. And you see this area is kind of more populated with the dark purple and black robed figures that you've come to know as the cultists. Arun
far-
and
Sorry.
Arun and Steve down in this area, you see a large tent and several figures standing very studiously. You see a few people approaching the tents, and they're brazenly shoved away as they get close to this large tent in the back. They seem to be paying very close attention to their surroundings and looking around and turning anyone that comes close away, minus a few select individuals. This tent is very well made. Down here, you see a few more of the slightly better made tents down here, but you see just a few people standing guard, not nearly as attentive as the large tent, but you do seem like they're guarding something down there.
Does that can we see like that what I assume to be a cave entrance from where we are, or is that kind of like not pointed out to us yet?
Nah, you can't really see that from your angle right now.
Okay.
How
Also
far
then-
down is the slope into this valley?
As far as from the northwest down to the southeast, or like the slopes in front of you?
Like this wall right here. Like how steep is it?
It's about 50 feet. It's very steep. It looks like there could be handholds and such to climb down it if you wanted to. However, you would pretty obvious doing so, climbing down that sheer cliff there, and it would take you some time to do so. They are not small cliffs.
Does it look like this area right here? Is that like an incline going up to that guard tower?
No, actually, as you're looking, or as the three in the front are looking, the incline goes up and then meets, and once again, it's about 40 or 50 feet, even this point closest to you. However, as you're kind of moving around and looking around towards this guard tower, you see at the very top of this cliff next to the guard tower, you see the ends of rope, what appears to be a ladder of some sort leading down into the gully there.
Okay.
I'm going to kind of stand up in motion for Stone Skull and Tara to come meet up with us.
Okay. Kind of tap Tara on the shoulder and say, I think they want us. Start.
You were just telling me about your great sword.
And it was a glorious story, wasn't it?
Well,
So I want to relay, the information that we've seen about the twin guard towers, the kobolds, the more humanoid figures, the highly trafficked tent, as well as the, the structures. And with that, I kind of mentioned I have an idea. It seems as if the more stable fixture is a command tent of some kind that makes me feel like the answers that we're looking for could be found there. The question is how do we get down?
I would disagree that we even need to go near the command tent. We just need to know where it is so we can report back. What we should be focusing on is finding the man who's infiltrated this group already so we can get answers from him.
With that, I pull the necklace, the brooch, like choker that I had, and put it out and hand it, reach, grab Tara's hand and put it in her hand and say, this feels as if it was removed by force. I don't think that he's here by choice. I think he's here against his will.
Then we should search for the interrogation tents. They won't be far from the command tents.
I'm gonna kind of perk up and look over at Tara and say, how much noise do you make when you move Earth?
Well, it depends on how much earth.
Well, if you were to make stones or steps in a slope.
I don't know if I'm powerful enough for that. Let me read this real quick.
Let me read the
Read it.
brochure on my
You're gonna
powers.
read it with your eyeball.
So just to kind of project a little bit of what your options are here, just so everybody's not in the dark. Not to stifle anybody's creativity, of course.
In the dark 'cause he's blind.
'Cause he's blind.
my
So
God.
there's a few ways, like I said, it's broad daylight right now. Very, based on your perception and looking at the entrance over here to the northwest, there's nobody really checking these people as they're going in and out. You see people wearing everything from the kind of cultist garb to stuff that you're wearing, and nobody's really paying attention to one another. So an espionage kind of sneaky approach could possibly work. An even further sneaky one, after you could possibly maybe get some more information, because you've got kind of a general layout of things. There's certainly more information to be had. You could wait till nightfall, maybe try to sneak in, but you would kind of assume that maybe the security might be slightly tighter with the cover of darkness around them. And there's always the possibility of rushing in, fighting, and see if maybe you can find what you want and get the hell out.
Don't tempt us, okay?
Yeah, right.
We
No,
just had like an hour
Didn't
of
we
the
just
session trying
didn't we
not
just
to do
talk
that.
ourselves out of our?
I'm just giving you options. Kind of think about
Bloodlust.
those. Kind of think about those things real quick.
Uh,
Decide kind of what you want to do. I'm gonna go pee real quick. I'll be right back.
okay.
no, wait, Havoc. Quickly.
No.
Ping for me where
what?
those people are walking. The ones that look like us. Or dressed like
All
us.
over this place. Like I said, there's people walking like in and out of the camp. There's a larger clearing and leading off in various paths off map. People are entering and exiting the camp very freely right now.
What type of people, though, are we talking? Like, because I obviously don't feel that
Right. Or
my
Goliath,
Goliath
Dragon
Seth,
Ball.
yeah, I wouldn't fit in with the rest of these guys.
You see
Yeah.
you see everything from Goliaths to humans to elves to half elves. You see a lot of various races down there. You don't see a lot of Dragonborn. Actually, you don't see any Dragonborn down there. So that's the one thing in your party that's kind of excluded. But you see, Ginsai, gnomes, Goliaths, like I said, humans, every kind of race you would expect in this kind of varying garb. You see they're all carrying weapons and such, as well as like tankards of ale and such. But they, like I said, there seems to be no security in the entrance over here. People are just kind of wandering in and out of the camp. All right, gonna go pee. Be right back.
All right.
Okay.
So perhaps I can go into town a little bit and search to see what I can find out. I'm good at drinking ale. I can handle that.
Look, I don't see any of Myers Steve's kind, which means you'd be going down there by yourself.
I can accompany him.
I believe your disability might also hinder your effectiveness for this.
I can be far more useful than you think.
I reach into my pocket and I pull out the mask that I grabbed 2 sessions ago. And I'm going to put it on that over my face and say, sounds like the best option available to us.
Just brazenly walk in?
I think it's more be sneaky and don't let them know that we're here for anything else.
I don't think that putting that gambling on our ability to blend in, especially if we're separated, is the best idea.
Right. I would say that putting our ranged person in melee range, where no one else can have his back, isn't necessarily the best course of action.
I have an idea. We take the tower here. We watch for patrols and how they move. And during a change, we take that tower. Arun, we'll put you up under the cover of night inside that tower to give us the best possible vantage point.
All right.
And we send Steve in through with the use of one of my spells into the command tent to gain as much information as he can and extract himself without causing any scene.
That sounds like a very bold choice for sending one person in by themselves, though.
I think one person with the support of 4 would be better than 2 with the support of 3.
And just to kind of telegraph what would happen with this plan, there's going to be a lot of skill checks for stealth and infiltration and things of that
Would
nature.
there, though?
Yes, there would.
With invisibility?
Mm-hmm. You would have
Well,
a supreme,
I guess you
kind of
yeah.
advantage and everything on it, but there would still be things happen. You might knock a rock over or something like that.
Don't breathe on their
Sure.
face.
Invisibility does not mean silent.
Right.
I mean, so I don't know if you heard it whenever we were talking, but we also talked about possibly sending myself and Tara down into the
Thank you,
camp
Aaron.
to just kind of walk
Tara,
around.
Make sure we're on the same page. Tara is not going anywhere near the front of that camp. She cannot be spotted. There's no way a blind or Gentai isn't going to stand out, especially when they were looking for us in the city by the mill. Like, she's going to be the one that's going to stand out more than anything. Well, 2 Dragonborn and her. You 2 might be able to blend in, but I don't think the 3 of us will be able to have any sort of be able to blend in.
Yeah, and if you chose to do that, if 1 or 2 or 3 of you or the entire party decide to go in there may be some PC interaction, some RP situations where you may have to roll for those interactions and kind of work your way around the words and such to infiltrate that way. I said, y'all do whatever you want. I'm just trying to let you know what's going to happen depending on what your choices are. That way you're not blindsided by it.
So I guess the first question is, do we try subterfuge and try to move our way around, or do we try and walk in the front door and use disguise and deception as our best ally?
I mean, I feel like I could just fit right in here.
Hey, Rune?
I have a question, Havoc. I feel a cave. What would happen if someone set off an earth tremor on top of that cave?
It'd be very loud and alarming, and people would be very suspect of it. Cave might cave in, but might not. It's pretty thick. You can tell from that distance with your tendrils of earth sense kind of going through there. The cave is natural and well built, I guess, or well made naturally. Well formed. That's a good way to put it. It's a natural cave that seems to go deeper than what you can feel.
I kind of relay this to the party and be like, I can create a distraction if we need to get out of there. And I won't be in any danger, or minimal danger.
If nothing else, we need to have an escape route planned.
Havoc, where's the tent where they're serving ale?
Up in that area right there.
Okay, so that's close enough to the entry.
Oh yeah, and people are like celebrating and having a raucous good time right there in that area for the most part. Like I said, it's kind of filled with mercenaries and that such, so they don't really care about discipline.
So with that being said, I feel like I could fit in pretty well there. Maybe I could get some information, make it a little easier for us.
I feel like going along with that plan. I think
Okay.
being if we're going to try to pass ourselves off, we should do it at least first in the section that has not true believers, more mercenaries, it seems.
I believe our best bet would be to try and pass ourselves off as perhaps more important than we are. Perhaps we we say that we are part of the, no, what's the word I'm looking for? Not entourage. Entourage works, I guess, but the entourage of Langradosa.
What's the handshake? You're dead.
No, I believe that I'll be able to convince whoever it is that we come across that are of our authenticity.
It's not a gamble I would take.
What is your suggestion?
I don't think we know enough. I think we should relocate to the northwestern entrance, and the Stone Skull can attempt to blend in if he wishes to do so, gather some information. I think I could do with a bit of observing to see kind of the patterns of how people are moving. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of them leave more often throughout the day. Maybe, certain groups congregate. I mean, we saw plenty of animosity between the kobolds and humans earlier.
I mean,
Could be something we do again.
why don't our Dragonborn friends just watch and see what everybody's doing? Maybe see if there are certain interactions, maybe over at the tent down here. Something
Nothing
other.
else. I don't believe Steve and I should enter anywhere near sight range until darkfall.
That way, at least we can get an idea of what's going on over there before we try to go anywhere.
That sounds like a good a plan as any.
So it looks like the current plan is send me down into the entry of the village over where they have the ale and kind of blend in with the mercenaries.
I would I'd suggest for Arun to move with you unless he wants to stay.
Okay. Or if he was really concerned, he could wait by the top of the hill and kind of scout for me if he sees anything out of the ordinary.
Scott? Oh, attack the curry.
No, sorry about that. I actually I had something on the oven that I actually forgot about.
Oh,
Whoops.
so
Yeah, would you
smells
rather go
already.
with Stone Skull down into the encampment or stay above and
and
Overwatch?
scout.
From both perspectives, like mechanically and like role playing,
Thematically.
I think I don't have the ability to blend in forever. I think I'm best observing.
Okay. With that, we'll kind of look to Stone Skull and say, keep your wits about you, and if you feel as if you feel like if you've been compromised, start moving.
I mean,
Give us a sign of 3 bangs of your great sword against your armor.
if it comes down to it, I'm not afraid to turn tail if I need to.
Living to
Yeah.
fight another day is not cowardice.
It's a sound tactic.
I lay my hand against your
Says the
arm,
rogue.
Stone Skull, and I say, "You're safe within 400 feet."
All right, so that sounds like what we're doing here.
Alrighty. So you're gonna move around, I guess, the north side of the camp and
Kind of
What
up
is it?
here.
Yep,
say what's
and
everybody else gonna be doing.
Max, Steve, and Tara are scouting the big tent over here to see if anything out of the ordinary happens, just kind of track to see what's going on there. And Tara is willing to make a distraction if necessary to make sure we can get an extraction from over here if shit goes haywire.
Well, if you're... Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. So the way
I
this
say
is,
we lay in wait here.
Okay. So the way this is going to go with, there's nothing wrong with splitting the party up. We're just going to keep everybody kind of equally involved. So we're going to take a little bit of time for each person or each group to describe what they're doing, what they're watching for, things of that nature. And then we'll kind of rotate between everybody. So the grass and shrubs and things of that nature all around this make concealment very easy, as well as the lackness of the security of camp. So you can move wherever you deem that you want to go to, and then we'll start from there.
All right. So heading up in this direction, gonna go around this peak here and start heading back down in towards camp.
Okay.
I'm watching, obviously, the kobolds here. Does it seem like they're like actively looking, or are they just having trouble and they're not able to really get a good view of anything?
Arun and Stone Skull, give me perception checks, as well as Max. Yeah, just Max. Arun, Stone Skull, and Max perception.
You.
Mhm.
You.
Ugh.
All right. So Stone Skull and Arun, you don't see this. Max, you see as you move around. Tara obviously doesn't have sight, otherwise she might have seen this too. Previously, you couldn't see due to the cliff side. You see a man kind of on a cross tied to it, with a couple of crosses around him to his left and right. You see he is obviously a prisoner of some sort. He appears to be a half-elf, wearing somewhat similar clothing to what you saw the monk that you talked to previously wearing.
Can
He
you give
is
me where at? Or,
right about
close
there.
to the radar? Okay. Oh shit. Okay, so
Yep, down below you. So kind of near the big tent, but obviously set away. You don't see any active guards or anything. Even the ones that are to his north don't seem to be looking at him or paying attention to him. He's kind of looks haggard. His head's kind of bowed. He might be sleeping or passed out. You see obvious bloodstains and such around his clothing. Stone Skull and Arun, or Stone Skull, namely Arun, you see various things around there. We'll do your general first. You see, one second. Down by the kind of mess hall tent, larger ones as well as the small ones, where these mercenaries seem to be kind of camping out.
So ugly.
You see various people of this kind of mercenary group walking around, kind of being very boisterous with their movements, sitting at tables, drinking together. You see a few arm wrestling, some heated words being exchanged, and then them going back on their business. Stone Skull, as you're kind of looking down towards this, you have a height advantage on this tower down here. You're able to look down into it, and you see the kobolds are sitting around a small table that's in there. They appear to be playing with stones of some kind. They're not paying attention at all to their surroundings. They kind of glance around, occasionally looking up the hill towards you as well as to the south side, but not really paying attention to anything they look at.
Are there any groups coming into the camp right now that I could try to blend in with? Maybe straggle a little bit behind so it looks like I'm with them, but I don't, get their attention.
You see a mixed group going in and out of the camp. You see 4 or 5 kind of dark, not dark robe, but mercenary looking gentlemen talking amongst themselves. Yeah, gentlemen, mercenary gentlemen, things that don't go together. That you see them coming in, and a few others leaving camp. There's a almost constant stream of people going in and out of it.
Okay, so yeah, I'm with that, knowing that the kobolds are somewhat distracted. I'm going to take that as an opportunity to slowly follow in a group of them. Like I said, kind of straggle a little behind so they don't get suspicious and not draw any attention to myself in the meantime.
All right, as you're kind of moving in and following this group in, give me a performance check.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
All right.
Oh, look at that.
So you're able to go in. I'm going to kind of move you around a little bit as I'm moving everybody else. This group kind of moves down. You start to move in. Oops. Back behind them. You almost stumble and fall over some rocks you didn't see, and they turn around and look at you, and kind of squint at you for half a second, and then the group continues on, not paying attention to you. Arun, what are you doing right now?
I'm gonna continue to look at like people coming and going from the campsite. I'm gonna, I don't know, devote like basically half and half my attention to keeping an overwatch on him, but I also want to look and see if I notice anything that sticks out, or I don't know. I'm looking for patterns in what they do.
Okay. Group on the hill to the east. What are y'all doing?
I want to motion Steve over to me and point down to this the gentleman. He's on a cross, you said? Just
Yeah.
kind of not quite crucified, but like tied up on one.
Yeah, tied with rope. His arms are bound. His legs are bound together down at the bottom, the base of the cross.
Mention kind of nod over and say, I would bet that's Leosin.
I'd be willing to put money on that bet.
Kind of listening in. You see him? Where?
On a cross. Do you feel the spike in the earth? Can you feel his life resonating off of it?
There's so many spikes in the earth here. It's hard to get a good reading.
We do have eyesight on him, but unfortunately, I believe he's in a position where there's not a lot we can do for him right now. That's it. I'm observing the comings and goings specifically of the tent. I want to pay attention mostly to anyone wearing cultist garb, specifically anything purple with the purple and black striping through it.
Okay.
Can I sense anything about the cliffside here? Like, is there an easy way down? Or like a rogue?
Give me a perception check with advantage.
Cool.
Willie, also give me a perception check.
Okay.
Okay. Tara, as you're kind of feeling out, reaching out across this cliffside, now that you're kind of closer to it, you feel like there's, things that could be handholds and such like that. It wouldn't be easy going. It wouldn't be very quick for anyone, aside from just jumping off, and that's a good 40, 50-foot fall. But it could be traversed up and down. It would just take some time. Max, as you're kind of looking out, you don't see anybody entering or exiting this camp, this tent rather. You see several heavily armored figures, about 4 of them, standing around, as well as 4 of those almost dog-like, dragon-esque looking creatures.
The ones we saw before.
Mm-hmm. And the guys that are standing around it, they look very tough. They look very similar to the one you fought the night before. That was the leader of that second group you ran into. They look very hardened, very disciplined, very good at what they're doing. And the guard drakes around them seem to be keeping an eye out very studiously. They seem well trained, and obviously under the command of these other 4 standing within. Every once in a while you see, you don't see any kind of mercenaries in this area. All you see further up into the tents, you see some of the cultists in the dark purple garb, solid color. Every once in a while you see one walk towards this area, and they're immediately turned back by the glares of these men surrounding the tent, as well as the growls from these guard drakes. It seems like no one is allowed into this area.
I kind of whisper to Max, if we could get Steve there, I can sense some handholds. We could get him down there. If he could be undetected somehow, I could create a distraction and get all the guards' attention away from the prisoner, so that when he's down there, he can free him and get them out of there.
All right. With that, there may be a time for that. With that, I'm going to pull out the rope that I've got. Is there a rope skill?
Not really a rope skill. If you were to tie it off on anything, it would be kind of a sleight of hand check.
I want to make a loop that I could use to tie around Steve, and then lower him down. I feel like that'll be quicker. Like use me as a to rappel down off the front.
Okay, you plan to do that right now? Or
No. It's just
Okay.
prepping the rope to do that.
Okay, yeah. When you decide to take action on all that, we can do the checks for it.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to prepare the rope, so we should wait to see what the others find before we jump into action.
Yeah, if you want to prepare it now, just to have it ready for it, just give me a sleight of hand check.
Sleight of hand.
I feel like Steve should be able to climb down a mountain.
Okay, noted. Stone Skull, what are you doing?
All right. Continuing and gonna make my way towards the tent, and gonna just observe the mercenaries. See, obviously, that they're doing the drinking and dispersing and playing. I'm guessing all sorts of like tabletop like dice and cards probably, and they're doing arm wrestling according to what you were saying. I'm gonna just go in and head in and straight towards the bar itself, and just order an ale.
Okay. Down here, kind of behind these four that are sitting at a table, you see a makeshift kind of bar where someone's sitting there, a bartender, another mercenary-looking fellow, kind of heavy set a bit with a grizzled beard. He's kind of leaning on the bar, looking at a gold coin in his hand, not doing much, though. As you approach, he looks over at you and kind of squints his eyes a bit as your large form kind of bulks up next to him, addresses you as you walk up. What are you having?
Give me an ale.
He nods, said, it'll be 2 silver, and reaches behind the bar and grabs a ale glass and starts to fill it up.
Okay. And I pull out the 2 silver from my pouch and smack it down on top of the bar there, and kind of nod at him when he brings it back around. And then I'm guessing that puts me like here or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And as he drops it off, I'm going to pick it up and just start surveying the area. Do I notice, does this all look like just random people? Like from all over, all walks of life? It's not like a specific band of mercenaries or anything like that?
Yeah, correct on the former.
Okay. And do I hear any discussions about any of the things they've been doing recently?
Give me a perception check. As you start to, kind of turn around and survey the area to your south, like I said, you see these 4 people standing or sitting at a table in front of you. As you turn around and look at them, you see 2 of them swing around and kind of give you a suspicious, squinting of the eyes as they kind of study you up and down. That being said, Aaron, what are you doing?
I guess it kind of depends. Have I noticed anything, like any kind of pattern to how people have been moving? I'm also thinking like it's probably because I don't know. I haven't seen the monk like the other ones have. I'm pretty much just looking for anyone who I think might actually be like neither a mercenary or a cultist, I guess.
Okay. Give me a nerve perception check.
Okay.
You've been looking for a while. Give me it with advantage.
22.
Nice. So as you're looking around in the immediate area directly to your south where Stone Skull is, you see him ordering an ale, and you see a couple of gentlemen turning around and looking at him very suspiciously. As your gaze kind of sweeps down to the southeast, you see another group of tents down in this early area. You see...
Where?
Down here.
I don't see whatever you're clicking.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong layer. Sorry. How about that?
Yes.
Okay, so down in that area, let me switch layers again. You see 4 figures leaving 2 of the tents there, kind of walking up and converging here in the middle. They seem to be wearing that kind of dragon-esque mask that you've seen on a few people prior in your adventures in Greenest. And they all seem to be conversing with one another, obviously too far for you to pick up what they're saying. But as they get done conversing, they kind of take standing
Not
posts
an adult beverage
around
tonight.
these tents, kind of putting up a bulwark in front of them, turning people away as they walk up. Somewhat similar, but less strenuously than the group over here is doing.
Okay.
All right.
No
So,
adult
group on the mountain. Steve, what are you doing?
Watching foot traffic around the gentleman on the cross. See if there's any discernible patterns of people that like crossed near him or in between him and the tent, and namely watching this gentleman here to see if he has any like tell signs of like watching in that general area.
Okay. Give me a perception check. Okay.
Maybe not.
You see this whole group surrounding this large tent over here seems to be watching more to the northeast than they are to their south. They seem mostly focused on people and things that they can see from preventing them from approaching this tent. They aren't paying any special notice down to their south to this person that is chained up on this cross. As you're kind of looking at foot traffic and such, you notice that people were kind of avoiding not only the people to their north, they're also walking away from this gentleman that's tied to the cross. You see a couple every once in a while passing between the two group, or the group to the north and the one dude heading towards the cave directly below you. As you kind of peer over the side, trying to be sneaky and not be noticed, you see every once in a while one or two kobolds or black and purple robed figures going in and out of the cave. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are going in and out of it, though. It's very rare. Max, what are you doing?
And I'll kind of mention or motion over, nudge Tara, and say, "Can you?" You can't really differentiate. Are there any loose stones around me? Like anything that I could pick up and kind of throw in this general area? No, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to hit anybody.
Yeah, there's like pebbles and small rocks that could fit, into your palm of your hand.
With that, kind of toss a pebble up in the air and onto the ground. And mention, Tara, can you sense that when it makes impact?
Okay. Where are you aiming?
No. At first, I'm just kind of throwing it like down at the ground in front of me,
where they're
just
at.
to confirm. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
right here, right up by us.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Then I'm gonna say yes. That's like right there.
So with that, I'm going to throw one just kind of in this area.
Okay, give me another sleight of hand check.
Oh,
All right. It falls very short. It lands about here.
Okay. Did you feel that impact? Can you sense that?
Perception and advantage have it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely. Yep. Knows exactly where it hit.
Did you feel the presence of the people, and both on two legs and four, that are moving around that point?
With that, I'm going to say yes.
Definitely.
Can you, if there's any sort of motion by many of those figures, any quick motion, let me know.
And how do you want me to let you know?
Just speak. They can't hear us from here.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you were going to be doing
Well,
something.
it's
All
not.
right.
It's not even letting you know so much
no.
as to just keep an eye on them. If you can feel them, focus on them, and if they, pay attention to their movement.
Will do. I'm watching for everything I can see. Or not see.
The idea was to grab like in that particular area, anyone that's moving, and that's it.
All right, Tara, you're just going to be keeping an eye,
Following orders.
figurative eye out for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Third eye.
Before we return to Stone Skull, I will be right back. I got to step away for a second, and then we'll continue on. Be right back.
Okay.
I'll grab a drink very quickly then.
all right. So
I'm gonna grab another plate of this delicious ass chicken.
this group glanced up and saw me, made eye contact, or they are looking in my direction. I think I play it off and then have Stone's Skull randomly glance down to see them, and if they are still looking, give them a bit of a nod to acknowledge them, and if they start to approach, it may become a situation where I have to buy them a round of ale to get them to pipe down a little bit to not ruin my plans, my master deception plans of drinking ale while everybody else is doing work.
Nothing. Everybody's kind of left away for a second. But can you create a distraction if we needed to distract that group of people?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is if you send Steve down there invisible, I'm going to use Earth Tremor right over this cave.
No. I mean, more focused on those people in particular. We want that group.
Oh, it's gonna be loud, and it's gonna get their attention.
I know, but we want specifically to turn them away from Stone Skull. Like that's the idea. It's not so much create a distraction. We want to make sure that Stone Skull isn't found out. Like we need those.
I'm literally playing it as safe as I possibly can.
Yeah, just in case things go south. It's a way to get the the people.
Yeah, and that was kind of the the backup plan as well with Tara.
What were you envisioning here? Because I'm envisioning Earth Tremor over this cave.
Yeah,
I mean that's definitely going to be that's a good distraction. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, that'll be as good as anything.
Yeah, no, they're not going to see us up here either because I will be melding with stone before we do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if
y'all
the moment,
safe as well.
Yeah, the moment that happens, it's going to get everybody's attention anyways, and they're going to turn and start looking that way, possibly even walking that way, hopefully, especially if it's super loud. So that would give me an escape plan if necessary.
Yeah, a window to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, that Steve should be down there when that distraction happens. So.
Yeah. To free this guy.
Yeah, to free him, and once everyone starts walking that way, take the roundabout way, kind of through here.
Okay.
And
down and around. Yep.
The biggest worry are these guys over here, but
maybe
kind of ducking and diving.
If you look, the openings to the tent are these little gray things. If he drops down back over here, he can kind of stay around the back edge of these tents and stay away from the line of sight of everybody, and then make his way over to the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get him back up the cliff with a rope? Is your rope long enough?
Well, that's yeah. That's why I was saying, like, if I make a belay is the word I'm looking for, where I tie it to me and to him, send him down. I'm strong enough to pull him and another person up by a long shot.
Then yeah, that's what I'm saying we do. If we hear any kind of ruckus, I think Steve needs to be down there ready. He needs to start moving on his turn.
Mm-hmm.
I only got 10. I got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you should be down there, to cast before he goes down.
Yep.
Then.
Oh, never mind. It's an hour. Oh, I forgot. It's not 3-5.
Yeah.
It's up to an hour. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, and I'll cast Pass Without a Trace once y'all are out of my range. And that way I'm just by myself and don't get any attention with the spell casting. And then I'll be ready.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
You can just meld with stone.
Yeah, it is. Meld with stone is Pass Without a Trace in this.
Oh, yeah.
So it gives you the benefits of the Pass Without a Trace spell for concentration up to an hour. Wait, I'm going to need to do that after I cast because that would break my con. It's casting just any other spell, right? Or is it another spell of concentration?
It's not what you're doing is like a spell-like ability, so it doesn't require concentration. You just do it.
Full Earth Tremor would be another spell, but yeah, that's a good point, I guess.
Concentration.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't say anything on Merge with Stone needs concentration, but it does say that Pass Without a Trace it's concentration.
Yeah, that would require concentration. So if you cast another spell, you have to break the concentration for that.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to hit it and then cast Pass Without a Trace, but that's not a problem. I can make that happen with a Sorcerer point.
Mm-hmm. So, lower Steve down while he's invisible. Unhook dude on the cross. While you create a distraction, we get him back up the rope with us.
Yeah, we just need a good time to know when to go.
I mean,
So,
yeah. I don't want to metagame that too much, because
yeah.
I could say you could just do it whenever, and if I don't learn anything, I don't learn anything. But we shouldn't think of it that way. You guys,
we're not gonna do anything
right
until you are back,
Yeah.
or something bad happens. Like
Yeah.
there's no.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you make it back out of the camp, you know where we are, and you make it over here, then yeah, we're gonna extract him.
Yeah.
But if something goes south, we're gonna create a distraction, just grab him too and get out.
And I don't feel like this is metagame because this is what I was trying to say in character anyway. So
Yeah.
That is well within the scope of what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
I like it.
Havoc should be back in just a
Looks like a
minute,
plan's
and
coming
we'll
together.
be able to do this. We'll see.
using a lot of different fucking talents too.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think we went over that we're not just combat, so.
Right. We do have a lot of skills. Very well versed. Especially after we dinged. Even more so.
Yeah, because that's going to allow me to use Quicken spell to make this happen all in one turn.
Alright, so we're waiting. He should be back here in just a second, and then we'll be ready to go.
Everything I got going on is combat oriented. Except that.
I think from my side, and this is going to come up when Havoc's back, I think I'm going to try to keep it to where Stone Skull's kind of playing it cool and not paying any mind to them yet. And, you know, just having his eyes scan the room and then randomly glance down, and if they're still looking, then that's when I'll perhaps do an interaction with them. Otherwise, I'm going to try to avoid that for now. Until they try to initiate something. At which point, yeah.
I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
My roommate made steak and stuff, so I couldn't let it sit because it was
No,
bad. So
Well, it's supposed to sit for like 1 minute, and then, but yeah, no longer.
yeah, so I was cutting that up, and
Called
baked
rest.
potato and shish kebab and fucking feast in front of me right now. It's glorious.
Oh yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah. So
Yeah, thanks for reminding me that my dinner.
Yeah, I might be lucky if I have a peanut butter sandwich or a can of tuna fish. Thanks, Havoc.
I was
the
not
chicken
expecting
had
to eat dinner tonight,
is
so I'm super
red
stoked
pepper.
right now.
Oh yeah, you were gonna drink energy drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I had green beans, pasta salad, and then chicken with rosemary, red pepper, parmesan, and dill, which is just fantastic.
Sounds like everything I want chicken with.
And juicy.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Think it's about time.
I mean,
Let's do it.
brother,
Let's do
Oh my god, it's so
I
good.
married a chef. It worked out.
it.
I'm not down with that commitment, so I just got a roommate as a chef, so it worked out.
Right.
All right.
Hey man, it's legal now. You can marry him.
Common law.
Common law, yeah. All right. So, oh shit, my door's still open. 1 second.
Your roommate's going, what the fuck?
I just dude splooging all over my food.
Guys, Havoc's trying to marry me.
No, you just come back like, hey,
Bitch,
hey,
you
where'd
wish
my
you could
steak
get
go?
me. He specifically messaged me. He's like, "Hey, food's ready. Get it soon. Don't wait." I'm like, "Okay, yes,
Yeah.
boss."
Yeah, Scott, you're also not far enough along the hot, crazy skill because your name's not Tiffany.
Or Tanya.
Well, we know me.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. So going back to sorry, this is so good.
You're good, man.
Going back
Enjoy.
to Stone Skull, you've seen these two guys turn around and start looking at you and kind of eyeing you up and down, somewhat suspiciously.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
With that, kind of avoiding immediate eye contact, just going to continue to look around, not really focusing in on anybody at the moment, and then just make it appear to be like a random glance that I see that they're looking at me, and I kind of, my eyes kind of come together a little bit, not quite squinting, but kind of closing, and then just nod at them to kind of say that, I see them, and that's about it.
Okay. So as you kind of avert your eyes as they look at you, you kind of survey quickly the ground and the area around you, and you look back up and you see that they're both still staring at you. And one of them looks towards you and kind of raises his chin at you and says, "You're a big fella, aren't you? Come here real quick. I want to speak to you."
All right. Walk over, and are there any chairs around that I can hop a squat beside them?
There's one chair that's kind of on the west side of it. It's kind of
Okay.
made for a regular size human, so it's going to
So
be
I'd
a little
destroy
small
it.
for you.
Got it. Yeah.
A little small for you.
tight.
All right. Then I
What
will.
dimension?
I will
Yeah.
take a single knee and sit right beside him and say, "Yeah, what could I do for you, my friend?"
And as you take a knee, you are still towering over these gentlemen that are sitting at a table, very large. He kind of looks, the one that spoke to you, the one on the right from the perspective right here, kind of looks you up and down again. He says, "You know, that attack at Greenest, that was something, wasn't it? Where were you during all that?"
Oh, I was on my way over here. I didn't get to make it to Greenest, but I hear it was pretty glorious.
God damn it, you got to banter longer so I can eat the steak.
Appetite, damn it.
I'm fucking hungry. So he kind of looks at you and says, "Yeah, few of them didn't make it, but we had everything under hand. You know, I lost some people I knew to a fellow of your stature. You didn't happen to cross any swords with anybody around here, did you?"
No, not as of late, but I'm itching for the opportunity when it arises.
Let's see, he kind of nods. He says, "Shame, really. Those guys were bastards. I'm glad they're dead." And with that, everybody kind of breaks out in a ruckus laughter, and they all cheers each other, and they both turn to you and kind of hold out their mugs of ale to cheer you.
Kind of blend in and laugh and nod and kind of salute them and take a drink of my ale and say, well, how about I buy you all a drink for your glorious attack on Greenest then?
And with that, they all kind of like, "Yeah!" It's like 3 cheers for the big guy. And they all go back to drinking. Hey, Rune, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna have trouble with this just because I don't know what's feasible from this distance.
I don't know. Tell me what you want to do.
I don't know. I think the most important thing I'd want to do is, like, in case we have to press deeper, I'd really want to, like, see if there's a way they're all kind of like not so much the mercenaries, but like the people more in the camp proper. I want to see if there's like, if there's any ritual to it. Are they like greeting each other, like, in a way or something like that? I would
Any sort of nuance.
Yeah, just like anything that like I would like see them doing, that might be like an advantage to like passing ourselves off that way.
Okay, that's an excellent question. Give me a perception check with advantage.
And I was gonna say, if the camp proper is more like down on this side of camp, right?
Yeah, the more structured area is down that way.
So if that's the case, then I imagine I'd probably shift myself to like here, so that way I'm still in sight of him, but I also have like a better view of this side of camp.
Okay, roll with advantage for your perception check and add +5 to it.
All right, 18.
Nice. All right, so as you're looking down, kind of looking for nuances and such, your eyes are drawn, more to the north where Stone Skull is. It's very haphazard, very unorganized, raucous laughter and celebrating, and not much soldiering going on. They seem to just be celebrating their attack on Greenest. down in this area, you start to see. Do I have any cultists? Yeah, I do. Oh, they're the same thing. Whatever. You see some more of these dark-robed figures walking around, and as they walk around to each other, it's like I said, it's very sporadic. Not nearly as crowded down here. They seem to be going in and out of tents, and there'd be a brief pause and seeing any foot traffic, and then a few more would walk around, head towards the exit, and some head down towards the cave down in the southeast. But as they pass one another, you see some of them holding up their right hands towards each other as kind of a greeting, and they have all 5 of their fingers outstretched. And as they move back down, you see a few of them also raise their 5 fingers and then lower their index and middle fingers, or index, pointer finger, pointer finger, and
So you're telling me they're basically giving each other like a high five symbol and then a rock on symbol?
Not a rock on.
No.
Think of like, instead of making peace, the opposite
An
of
opposite.
peace.
Yeah.
So their pinky and ring finger and thumb are still outstretched, but they lower the pointer finger and middle finger. And the ones that do this get kind of a bow and a deeper nod from the person that they're offering it to. Seems to be a little bit more of a greeting than the outstretched fingers.
Can you tell if it's a palm in or
it.
palm out?
Oh yeah, well but I was also gonna say, does it seem to correspond with like a rank or like attire at all, or is it just kind of like random?
With an 18, the attire of these gentlemen is very similar. They all seem to be wearing the kind of dark purple. You don't see any lines or any kind of distinguishing marks. However, the ones that seem to be lowering their fingers, they have more of a fanatical look in their eyes.
So I'm just, I'm not shitting on you for this, but it's like, so I'm like 200 feet out. I'm like, yeah, you see the twinkle in that man's eye.
Essentially.
I am a creepy bastard.
200 feet's not that far.
Yeah, but I'm like seeing someone's like, I'm looking for a twinkle in his eye. That's crazy.
Well, it's more of a like an entire face gesture. Like their eyes are kind of gleaming with this fanatical light, but at the same time they're grinning a little bit as they do so. Kind of think of the people in mobs and shit. Yeah.
Distance.
Yeah. It's like, imagine the
You
people
can see
that
the
just start
half-formed
mobs.
chubby in their robes.
Like people that you would expect to start mobs, these are the guys that are lowering their 2 fingers. Like they're crazy looking.
All right, that's good. Good to know.
All right. Party on the hillside down here. What are you doing now?
I am going, to motion to Steve and start moving this direction. To start preparing for an extraction. Should we need to get Leosin out of there?
Okay, you could just kind of leaving Tara behind, or
Yeah, no, I am staying here. I'm trying to kind of keep my senses on their presence, Max and Steve's.
all right. Tara, give me a perception check with advantage.
Okay.
14.
All right, you're able to discern that they walk off around the side of the hill. As you kind of feel through the ground into that area that you were pointed to by Max previously, you feel these figures down here that you were told to watch or keep an ear to, an eye to, are not moving. Like they are very steadfast, almost eerily so. They are not moving. They are turning away anybody that seems to approach. So you have footsteps kind of approaching the center of this group and then being immediately turned away. You're able to pick up where this person is tied up. You're able to sense the cross embedded into the ground. Your senses kind of end at that point due to the wood makeup of it. Steve, what are you doing?
Given the conversation that Max and I had about the extraction that we're gonna try to perform. Give him a hand or look over the rope that he had tied up to make sure that I feel comfortable using it to get down.
Good call.
Okay, give me a perception check as you check this rope.
Looks good.
No, it's good.
Nope, everything's fine.
Yep.
You're
No, it's good.
The rope's gonna be able to hold you. You'll be fine.
Oh, this is gonna be rough.
Off this goddamn rope.
All right. Moving back to Stone Skull. What are you doing now?
All right. So I'm gonna, as the cheers and stuff start to calm down, I'm gonna look to him and say, "Oh, well, what's next? Who do I need to go and talk to about getting my orders before I can move out on foot?"
Kind of stop to drink and look at you very quizzically and says, "Orders. We're not too worried about those right now. We've succeeded. We'll get paid, and they'll come tell us if they need us again for whatever these cultists want to do with all their dragon nonsense and their half-dragon worship. I swear, they're all freaks, a lot of them."
I agree. Nothing worse than people that you can't trust.
The one that seems to be the vocal part of this group says, I hear that, but in our line of work, you know, you kind of just take whoever offers the top dollar."
Yeah, I suppose that's so. Well, I'm gonna just sit here and continue to drink. Are you guys playing any other games or anything to keep you entertained in the meantime? If not, could I interest you in a story about my blade?
They kind of chuckle at it, be like, "What's the story behind your blade?" And with that, we'll move on to Abraham. What do you do?
Let me tell you.
I'm imagining like at the end of whatever I'm doing, it cuts back and it's just him going like, "I fitted a bunch of cultists," and it's just yeah, super terrible. Yeah, you know, at this point, I don't know. I'm actually out of ideas as
Just keep
to.
an eye.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely still keeping an eye on him, but at this point, you know, he's inside a tent. I can't actually see him. Can I want to scan over here by the big tent and kind of just look for like. Well, I mean, I saw these guys down here, right? And so I kind of saw them wearing that like the fancy uniform from before, but like that. I mean, as far as combat with that guy went, it was like not really a big deal. Like, how about this group down here? I don't actually remember if I've seen anything that looked like that.
Once again, give me a perception check with advantage.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like I said, you see these people down here. Their armor doesn't look very thick. It's just vor for bluster, and they look very fancy. But they don't look like very intimidating figures, which is complete opposite of the spectrum compared to the ones that you see down here near this very large main tent. You notice the 4 humans that are standing around it look very tough. You see battle scars across their bodies that you can see in between their very thick splint armor that they're carrying, and swords as well. Maybe shields,
Yes.
rather.
Longsword.
Words? Question mark?
I'm trying to remember if they have shields or not. Shit, where are they at?
I
They're
don't
great
think
sword.
they do.
They're
They're
the same ones. That
their
got
long
involved
sword. They
before.
were using it two-handed last time.
Yeah, they got long swords. So you see
Mhm.
long swords, and you see a short sword kind of strapped to their back, as well as a heavy crossbow on their back as well. You see that they're well
Talking about this
provisioned for
here.
a fight, and they appear to know what they're doing in a fight. People that you probably wouldn't want to trifle with. Looks very similar to the one you fought the night before, except there are 4 of them, and they are backed up with these kind of guard dog drakes that are also with them.
You said Drake. Do I know anything about those?
You know that in Greenest you saw similar creatures when you were going to the sanctuary. They were in that very large group. Seemed to be very not agile, but good predators. something that would be good at hunting down its meal, and they roam in packs. You know that these are somewhat trained, and they're answering and are listening to the orders of these very strong-willed and strong-looking humans that are around the tent as well.
By the way, guys,
Okay.
thank you all for being here.
Willie,
Very much
just based off
appreciate
what
all of you.
said, I don't think these are the same things we fought at the church.
So far,
These are
so
different.
good. We
No, they
haven't set off any
I remember them
alarms.
being blue.
We're gonna maybe make it.
Oh, well, they're
here.
not the
We'll
same. They're
see.
similar in appearance,
Um,
but they seem to be a little bit tougher.
Let's see
Okay.
what else.
A little bit bigger.
Throw out the recap for anybody who missed our recap of last
beefier,
week.
and they look like they could handle themselves a lot better than the ambush drakes you saw before.
And if you're
cool.
so inclined, if you like what we're doing
With
here,
that,
give us a follow.
Tara, what are you doing now?
And feel free to follow us on Twitter as well. Keep the latest updates there so you guys
I'm
can
still
keep
keeping an
track.
eye on these guys. Make sure they don't move. Keeping an eye on Steve and Max over
Okay, Steve and Max.
there. A theoretical eye.
I'm going to
Hypothetical
take
eye.
the rope and fasten it around my waist. But I want to take the opportunity to find stones, rocks, something like that, or even just digging in footholds where I could brace myself against the edge. So if you where I could just lean back and have him, to give myself the ability to more easily lower and bring someone up. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you won't really need a check for that. I mean, I think you'd be pretty proficient in digging holes, very small ones
Yeah,
to
just,
put your feet into.
For my heel, and like digging into the terrain, really,
Right.
really just digging in.
Yeah, for sure.
Steve. Is there a place where I could tie my rope off as another way to climb back up?
It's somewhat barren here. You see a few of the shrubs. They're not very thick, but there's a lot of them around you. I feel like maybe you could entwine your rope through a few of those, and they'd be able to support your weight.
All right. Yeah, I just want. an
I agree.
additional-
That
we
would
do
be
that.
a little more fun.
Does that make
But
any sense? You just looked and mine's good.
we'll just take it a step at a time. Perhaps I can
No, it is good.
send
It's
some
good
of
to go
these
down
guys off without
back
them
up.
getting suspicious.
to expedite going back up if shit
Okay,
hits the
fair enough.
fan.
All right, fine. Oh, ye of little faith.
No, I have faith in your rope. I just would like extra rope to go back up.
I'm just curious.
Okay. So you want to tie off another rope now?
Yeah, just to, and I'll when I go down, I'll like dangle it down with me
Mhm.
as a escape route.
All right. Give me a sleight of hand check to see how well you tie that off.
Oh yeah, there we go.
All right. It's pretty
Finally.
pretty freaking secure. All
My
right.
mind is at ease with Max's rope now.
All right. So as things continue on, a few hours.
Whoa.
It's not me.
It's the other Steve. So as the morning into afternoon kind of progresses on, Stone Skull continues conversing with the group of kind of mercenaries and such. Learns a little bit of information. They're obviously not super outgoing to talk about things, but you learn that there's different factions within this mercenary group from different, bandits and things of that nature. They get along passably enough to get their job done and get paid by the cultists as well as the leaders of this cult group. You
Mhm.
learn that there is a let's see, there's a couple of half dragons that are in charge. There's also a human that seems to hold some sway. And who is that? You know that there's nobody really knows much information on him, but there's a guy walking around in red robes who seems to be accompanying the leaders of this cultist group. Nobody can really give you any more information on him, though. Arun.
Do I see? Do there appear to be any patterns in the movements of the groups right now, or does everything feel pretty stationary, like they're not preparing to go anywhere for a little while?
It seems fairly stationary right now. Like I said, the bandits and the mercenaries in general are mostly partying, celebrating their previous conquest of Greenest.
Okay.
You learn that they plan to move out sometime soon, more than likely, based on previous movements of the cult. A few of the members have been around for a few months now and kind of know that they go from town to town looting. They've been progressively escalating their attacks from smaller villages to larger and larger ones. And that Greenest was actually the largest place they've hit. It was a larger village or larger town, but it was poorly defended, so it made it a prime target for them.
Okay.
Like I said, it seems like they're going to be here for a little bit longer. They don't seem to be leaving that day or anything. But you didn't outright, unless you want to outright ask them when they're leaving.
No, I had it on my list, but I'm holding that for now.
Okay. Arun, as you're kind of watching everything, you notice that the 4 people down here in the kind of elegant robes, they kind of switch out with a few others as the day progresses. They seem to be obviously guarding the tents back behind them. Can't really see inside of them, unfortunately, to tell what they might be guarding.
Mm-hmm.
The guard at the larger encampment to the southeast of you is rarely changes guard. You only see about 2 of them switch out for these muscled men to take off and go rest and such. But you see that they're very, very uniform, very cautious with anybody that approaches. Even the other guards, they check them, and they seem to check not only their face, but they have them speak some kind of command or passphrase or something of that nature before they are allowed near the tent to guard it.
Okay. Do I? The only thing other thing I thought of was, do I get a sense of how long the guard shifts currently are, like specifically for the guys in the towers, and then I'm assuming a different one for the masked guys down here?
The time that's elapsed, it seems like the masked ones are only about 3 hours before they switched out. They seem very lax about it, not really checking each other or anything of that nature. They just kind of switch out and go about their business. Like I said, it's about a little bit past noon at this point with your carousing and such. Took about 4 to 6 hours or so before the large tent guards switched out, and even then it was only 1 or 2 of them that switched out. It was 2 of them that switched out. As far as the 2 guard towers, the kobolds are all still there and still not caring to look around or guard or anything of that nature. You have seen at the eastern one, it looks like all 4 of the guards that were up there have been changed out over time. As they do, they climb up the ladder that's on the edge here, and the other ones climb down and head into the camp, heading actually back up to this area where Stone Skull is, not stopping in the cultist area in the middle of the camp.
All right, good to know.
The rest of you kind of see mostly the same stuff that I've described. You notice that as the day progresses, lunch is obviously passed. You see people eating and going through their rations and such. Nobody has approached this person tied to this cross down here at all to give him any water or food or anything like that. He's looking more and more haggard as time goes on. Still alive, you can clearly see him breathing and such and looking around occasionally at the camp, and he almost appears to be listening off to this direction towards the big camp, or the big tent rather, but not really trying to be very covert about it, not really showing any signs of life or drawing attention as best you can.
Like we can see because we're paying attention to him. But... Okay.
Yeah, you're keeping a careful eye on him as well as the tent behind him, I'd imagine. So,
Yeah.
Especially with your your intentions being to rescue him at some point, you're paying very close attention to him. You see his his head rise up, and he glances over at the tent, then puts his head back down. If anybody happens to glance his direction, you would almost assume that he's putting on an act right now.
Nice.
As we're going through, everybody else is kind of stationary until Steve and Max want to do something. except for Stone Skull. You're kind of going through, and like I said, you obviously have blended in with this group here. They seem to be keeping to themselves, not going down towards the cultist camp or any further than that. They seem to just be enjoying the spoils of war, as it were. You've been able to there, so unless you have any specifics that you want to do, time will kind of pass on until y'all feel like you want to do something.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
winning. I'm with nightfall. I'm not doing anything
Yeah.
until
Yeah, if
something
I-
pops off or it's nightfall.
Yeah, if I don't see any, I'm gonna try to stick with this group that I'm currently with because I've already blended in. It's gonna make it a little easier for me to stay here, and I'm just gonna keep surveying what's going on. And if they get up and perhaps they're gonna head somewhere else, perhaps I'm just gonna get up and join them and see where they go.
All right. As the day progresses, it gets towards the early evening. About 2 or 3 hours left until sunset approaches. The 4 gentlemen here, you learn that 2 of them don't give you their names, but the other 2, the ones that initially looked at you, you know that the one on the right, the very vocal one, his name is Fremont, and he is a bandit that used to be around the area of... Where's my map? Where were you from, Fremont? He's actually from the Grey Peak Mountains up by Lork. He used to scour that area with his troop of bandits, but he decided that there were more riches down to the south towards the bigger cities. So he has made his way down south towards this and joined up with the cult. The other one's name is... which one? Bartholomew is his name. Very... wouldn't say shy, but a man of few words. He looks strong in his determination as well as in his body, but he doesn't talk much. He only says things when he needs to and laughs at jokes and such like that. But like I said, doesn't offer any insight to anything and only really speaks when spoken to. But as the day kind of progresses on, they all 4 get up and actually move down down toward the initial group that you followed in had gone. And you see a circle of them kind of forming as the evening progresses on. And as you move forward, you see that there are a few of them wrestling and sparring down here. And they kind of look at each other, and you see them fighting. They take their shirts off and get very, into what they're doing, just sloshing ale around and pushing each other back into the fight when one of them gets knocked down or knocked away. They all kind of look at you and make way for your obviously larger bulk to fit in there between them. And Fremont turns to you as you kind of approach and look around this and says, don't go against this big one. I feel he would get the best of us here.
Oh no, I wouldn't dare interrupt your wrestling here, but if anybody was so inclined to do so, who would I be to say no?
And with that, Fremont kind of slaps you on the back and he says, yeah, well said, well said. Anybody here want to take on our friend here? I'm assuming you've told him your name, at least Stone Skull.
Yeah.
So anybody want to take on our friend Stone Skull here? I've got 5 gold on anyone who can beat him. And he kind of surveys the group here, and then one slightly larger man. Yeah, this dude steps forward. He says, I'll take you on, big boy. I'll be able to take you on any day of the night for 5 gold.
All right. And I kind of take my sword off and kind of go to blend in with them and, drop the heavy armor and kind of join into the circle here with him.
All right. And with that, you see he was kind of wearing some jackets that seem to obviously have been looted for somebody much more wealthy than he is. Takes that off as well as his shirt, and you see the ground below you is just a dirt pad that seems to be cleared out for this wrestling foray that they're engaged in.
Mm-hmm.
As you 2 move in there into the center of the group, they all start shouting, and you hear bets being placed, most of them on you for obvious reasons. You're about 2 to 3 feet taller than this man. But he looks well built for being a regular human, but he is ready to square off on you. And with that, he charges at you. Give me a strength check.
All right.
All right. So as this man charges you, he gets a good grip around your chest and tries to move up in your arms and trip you as you grab onto him. You're able to easily lift him up and move him away against you. Give me a dexterity check.
All right.
All right. So as you move him forward, you're attempting, you kind of got the rules based on the previous fight that you saw. It's just to pick somebody up, put them on their back, and hold them down. Think of, WWE kind of thing. You want to pin him. As you push against him, easily overpowering him, you're able to trip him up and knock him on the ground. He starts laying on the ground. He begins to struggle against you.
Okay.
Give me another strength check.
All right. Can I make it appear to be a little sporting, and instead of like immediately trying to force the win, I'm gonna like, if he puts a little resistance in, I'm gonna give way so he can get up?
Yeah, give me a performance
Do it,
check.
like 1 foot,
Okay.
stand on his chest or whatever.
Oh, it's just average rolls here.
All right. So as you're holding this man down, you feel him begin to push, and you're like, "Oh, I'll make a sport of this. I'll let him give him some leeway here." As you give him a leeway, you feel a surge of energy just burst through him, and he pushes you off of him and stands back up and charges you once again. Give me another dex check.
Dex check. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Nice. So as he comes in, you notice the burst of energy they had when he was on the ground seems to have dissipated, and he runs into you and actually bounces off of you as you hold your ground against him. What do you want to do?
So with him down, acting a little respectfully, so he doesn't, think I'm being rude or anything to him, I'm gonna go ahead and try to pin and finish the fight.
All right, give me another strength check. Well, it seems like every time you try to give this guy some leeway or try to be chivalrous towards him, he takes advantage of it. As you move in to try to trip him and knock him down on the ground, he sidesteps around you and gets hooks under your arms once again to try to take you to the ground. Give me a dex check. Going back and forth. Damn. So he gets his hooks in and starts to turn you over, but you're able to plant your feet and push him off of you once again, and you go back into it. What do you want to do?
Same thing. Just gonna go in, try to finish it off as quickly as I can now.
All right. Strength check.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my!
Going the other way.
So as you're getting a little bit more cautious as you move in, you don't put as much strength as you originally did before, but it's just enough actually to take him off of his feet and put him down to the ground. He begins to struggle against you. Give me another strength check. Nice. All right. So
Holy
even
shit.
though he struggles back, and you feel that little bit of burst of energy begin to put up as he's kind of a wolf with his back to a wall, he begins to fight against it, but it's just not enough. You overpower him and pin him down to the ground. You see a variety of cheers and groans around you as you win this wrestling match against this man.
All right.
He gets up and clasps your arm in a sign of respect. He says, "You made it a good fight. For that, I appreciate it. You're very large, after all."
I was trying to give you the best fight that I could, and I appreciate you giving me the time. Now, where's the ale?
As you say that, the uproar reignites around you. "Oh, more ale for Stone Skull," and they all venture up with you back up to the bar to the north.
And as we're venturing back up, I'm gonna re-equip everything so I'm not caught off guard by it.
Good plan. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So night is quickly approaching. Does anybody have anything they would like to do or observe or anything of that nature?
Changing the guards here again.
It seems like the other two that weren't changed out down here are finally changed out as night begins to approach with fresh ones.
As I'm heading back, does it look like can I get a glance at the kobolds and see what they're up to and see if they're still doing the same thing they were before?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Okay.
Y'all, my dinner was so good. I just want y'all to know that. Yes.
Energy drink.
Yeah, well, I also finished my 2 energy drinks. So,
Wow.
so yeah, as you're walking back, you kind of glance over there, and Arun, you also see this, kind of keeping an eye on the changing of the guards. You finally see the 4 kobolds change out, and it looks like 4 more kobolds go in there, and they seem slightly more attentive. They do appear to have at least one of them kind of surveying the area, while the rest of them play a stones game or something of that nature on a table inside the um, guard tower.
Okay.
But they, for the most part, are not really paying attention to the area, even with night fast approaching. Max, you said you were looking for something?
Yeah, people moving in and out of the cave entrance.
As it continues on, give me a perception check.
All right, they're down here.
Cool. Click. Nope.
You notice that people are going in and out. Like I said, it's very sporadic, very rare. It doesn't seem like a lot of people. You do see a couple more guards down there. Not nearly as fierce as the one surrounding this tent over here, but there are people watching, the ones that enter and exit this cave entrance here. But like I said, it's very sporadic. Only over the course of the entire day, there was less than 20 people that went in and out of the cave entrance.
Okay.
Tara, give me a perception check with advantage. Jesus.
Good lord.
Nope. There should be. I feel like there should be a second, like an earth sense perception. You know
Yeah,
what
I
mean?
feel like it's more hearing is what I'm going for now. I feel like I need to add like a
Yeah.
modifier to hearing, since you should be able to hear just fine. But we'll say you just rolled a 10, whatever. As you're kind of monitoring the area around the camp, you're actually directly above this cave entrance, so you're able to pick up a little bit of chatter as these few people go in and out of it. You hear mentions of the nursery, and for people to be careful down there. We never know when they're going to hatch is also mentioned a few times. Steve, anything you're looking for?
Watching the actions of the guy in the cross. If he's trying to pick up, if he's like trying to put on an act that he's more hurt than he actually is.
Can you see him from the wood? Since he's attached to the wood.
He's attached and facing away, but the crossbeam kind of gives you a good look of his face from his,
Okay.
kind of his left side of his face. Give me a perception check for what you saw throughout the day. With advantage.
Oh yeah.
All right, nice. You didn't need it.
Mhm.
So as you've been watching him, kind of keeping a keen eye after you notice him being kind of, odd with his movements and trying to pay attention to his surroundings. You've noticed his face as the day grew on get slightly more haggard. You kind of attribute that to the fact that he has been out here in a moderately warm day with no water, no food has been brought to him, nothing of the nature.
Don't forget he's been crucified.
He is also tied, but
Mhm.
for the most part, crucified. He has those arms outstretched and his feet tied together at the bottom of it. He does not look comfortable, and he is also, suspended in air by his extremities. So, you would imagine anybody would be kind of reaching the end of their rope after a full day of this. He looks more
Exactly.
annoyed than anything else at this point. He doesn't seem to be enjoying himself, obviously. As you've been watching him, you also notice that he is fidgeting with the ropes and chains around his hands. It almost seems like he's trying to find a way out as darkness begins approaching. And with that, it gets closer to the evening. Dusk begins falling across the area. You see numerous campfires lit around the camp. It seems like they don't care if they're spotted or not. They just want to be able to illuminate the area. There are dark patches here and there, especially around the tents, since the fires are kind of kept away from them to keep them from being set ablaze, as well as some of the bushes that you can kind of see, the dark green areas of this map. Fires aren't located there, so there are some dark spots that could be used for sneaking or hiding and things of that nature. But the night begins to set on. The guards take up a little bit more readily stance posts around this area and the main area. Once again, these guards seem very astute, alert, and ready for anything to come at them. So, night has fallen. What do you want to do?
I want. Well, I'm gonna just go back in rotation and see what people want to do.
Sure. So night has fallen. This group, like I said before, has kind of moved back up into this area near the bar. Even though they've been all drinking pretty much all day, they don't seem to be having any signs of stopping. They are still going on about different war stories are being told. Drink is flowing aplenty. The bartender that you initially met at the very beginning, Stone Skull, seems to be looking more annoyed and muttering about running low on ale at this rate. But the festivities are continuing. What do you want to do?
Does everybody seem pretty attentive to what's going on around them here? Or do they seem pretty out of it because they've been drinking this whole time?
Definitely the latter. Most of them
Okay.
have very, blazed drunk right
They're
now.
drunk.
Right.
Day drinking.
And
Is-
actually, I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please.
Okay.
Nice. All right. So Stone Skull, being where you were raised and such like that, you have been drinking. I mean, a long time.
He's drinking piss water in comparison to what he
Yeah,
was.
it's like this is low alcohol content. It's really not doing anything for you. You've been able to keep all of your senses and your wits about you throughout the day of drinking.
All right.
Drinking swill.
Yeah, so it's getting to that point where I feel like I should be moving and trying to regroup. So I'm gonna kind of explain that I need to. I've got to run to the restroom. Are you guys gonna stay here for a little while, or are we gonna call it off here before long?
As you kind of say that, the Fremont and Bartholomew especially turn to you and say, "Call it off. We aren't stopping until they make us, or we run out of booze, whichever comes first." With that, they all begin to laugh again and drink more. You see a couple of them actually barely keeping their heads up. They look like they're about to pass out,
And-
blackout drunk.
And since he made mention of booze and kind of noticing the other the barkeep back there is kind of getting annoyed, I'm going to continue to call for rounds here and see if we can't tap out the guy running the bar back there.
Okay, as you bring more rounds, going four or five at a time with your large hands, you're able to carry that very easily. Like I said, each one. So you probably spent about 60 silver throughout the entire day buying rounds for
Okay.
them.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
As you move forward and get another one, he says, "If you keep going like this, we're not going to last until tomorrow. You need to make them slow down, big one."
Well, I'm trying. They want to keep going. Who am I to say no?
With that, he kind of shakes his hand and mops his hand, or shakes his head and mops his hand through his hair, and says, "Yeah, I understand. It'll be a long night at this rate."
Yeah.
As you move to go take a piss, as it were,
Mhm.
give me a deception check.
Okay. Where is it? There it is.
Okay, as you make your way back over with drinks, they readily grab them from you and offer one back to you so you can continue drinking as well. And they say, Stone Skull, go take care of your business. We'll still be here when you get back.
All right. And with that, I'm gonna kind of smile and laugh and try to continue their cheerfulness enough to where I can get away and kind of act like I'm sneaking back behind everything over here. Do I see anything that looks like I might be able to move forward and maybe get into a better position over here? Like over in this area? Like, could I move here and be safe? Because you said this is more shaded, right?
Yeah, there's fires kind of in the vicinity of the tents. So
Okay.
it's kind of brightly lit around the tents areas, but everything in between is kind of, imagine like dancing
Right.
shadows from firelight.
Okay.
That's pretty much the only illumination they get.
Okay, so I'm just kind of mapping it out in my head, and at this time I'm not making a move, but kind of planning to go to here and kind of blend in with the shadows, and then possibly back behind the tents here. Would this give me coverage from the guards up at the top there?
Moving between the coverage kind of here back behind these tents up to
Mhm.
there, you would be kind of exposed. But once you got to that point by the cliff facing, you would be pretty much out of their sight.
Okay. So I'm kind of making a mental note of that before I turn to come back to where this group is and just figure out how I'm going to possibly approach if necessary.
Alrighty. Arun, what are you doing?
I mean, at this point, I think I was really just waiting for him to come back so that we could regroup. Yeah, there's nothing really for me.
Okay, give me a perception check as you're kind of waiting for him.
7.
Okay.
Nope.
Once again, with advantage, because you're kind of keeping an eye out for a long period of time. So as you're watching, you actually see Stone Skull emerge through the tents down here, and you see him looking off to the southeast, kind of assuming he sees you peering over the edge, and you kind of make quick your eyes meet, kind of an understood gesture as he looks down to the southeast and kind of motions where he's going to go. So you understand that he is going to try to, at some point, move towards this area.
Okay, so I'll make a note of that. But if I want to, like, preemptively get in position, I'm going to have to go over by that guard tower.
If you're going to move next to it, yeah. And you would have to be careful of not being seen. You also see that the kobolds, like I said, are a little bit more attentive. You see that the people up here in this guard tower are much more attentive. You actually see 2 of them roaming around the edges, kind of scanning the area away from the camp. So to the north, the east, and the south, they're kind of keeping a wary eye in that direction. Hard for them to see because it is very dark out there, but they do seem to be peering around compared to earlier where they were not.
Okay.
Tara, what are you doing?
I am waiting for any kind of signal to put our plan into action.
Neat. All right. Max and Steve, what are y'all doing?
It's nightfall now, yeah?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I am... How do I get Tara's attention? I'm going to start, like, tapping the... Like, I don't know, can I pound the earth to get her attention?
I am paying attention.
Okay. Max, give me a strength check. Tara, give me a perception check with advantage and a +5 modifier on it.
Oh, yeah.
Neat. All right. So, Max, you're able to kind of beat into the earth, just dun, 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 not making a whole lot of sound, but making a solid impact with it. Tara, you readily understand this as the direction that Max and Steve headed off to, and know that there is some kind of signal coming from one of them, probably directed towards you since they're beating on the earth.
Okay. I have got the message, and I am going to specifically kind of focus on Steve and seeing exactly where he is.
With that, I'm kind of turn to Steve. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I believe our friend down there has been itching to get off his perch for a while now.
Well, let's get him out of there then. I start humming and moving my hands through the air. And as I do, my hands start to blur as they come together, almost becoming more and more imperceptible. And as they come together, light and dark kind of coalesce in my hands as I touch Steve, and in an instant, he vanishes from sight.
All right, Steve, as you see this coming to fruition, you see him stop moving, and then you kind of look down at yourself, and it's almost a little bit unnerving, the fact that you cannot see your own body any longer.
What the?
As I've got a hold of him, I say, I can't see you either. So let's be quick about this. This won't last forever. And I sit back. I hold, as I sit down and kind of brace my feet into the ground, I hand the rope up into the air as if handing it to him, even though, I can't see him.
Okay.
All right. I'll take the rope that he has and I'll fasten it around. Do I want to fasten around my waist?
Yes. Yeah. Like repelling is going to be like I'm holding it and going to like let it go hand over hand, like lower you down.
I am holding an action until Steve hits to about right to this point. Havoc.
All right, 10-4.
All right. Yeah. So I'll wrap it around myself in a way that I could still. I don't think it's gonna reach. Still attached to Max to him.
No, it's just to get down.
Yeah. So I'll wrap it around myself.
Okay.
All
And
right.
kind
as
of
well.
rappel down with it around your waist.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then and drop as when I do repel, I'm gonna drop the one I dropped with me.
Okay. As you're repelling, give me a stealth check with advantage and a dex save as well with advantage.
Okay. So stealth.
Nice.
Very still.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Nailed it. All right. So as you're kind of climbing over the edge, you feel the rope that's in Max's hand with him having a strong grip on it, with him bracing himself from the earlier prepared ruts that he created for himself. He has a good grip on it, is able to work with you almost perfectly to let you down as you kind of hop off the wall and come down. As you come in contact with the wall itself each time, as you hop away from it and rappel down further, you're very, very careful and tedious about your foot placement. You avoid all of the loose rocks and such along this wall, and you're able to rappel all the way down without making a single sound. And you are now on the ground with your other rope laying next to you, or
Alright.
hanging next to you.
Yeah. So I imagine there's like there's the rope that's attached to Max, and then there's the rope that I put down, and then I'm going to attempt to make my way to gentleman on.
Okay. As you get to about right here, you feel a tug at your waist. The rope that was attached to you and Max is still around your waist because you have not removed it yet.
I'm going to remove said rope.
So no one saw a
Yeah,
levitating
thank-
rope for a bit.
Things don't make me make a strength check. Like he pulls me off the top.
All right, so you're able to definitely unravel it, and you're able to move forward. As you get to right before where Tara noted, give me another stealth check with advantage. All right,
Okay.
nice. Yeah, you're able to continue moving through kind of the much lower grass. It's not like 4 to 6; it's only about 2 feet tall, but you're able to move through it without even like bending the blades or anything to note any appearance of you moving through it. With that, you get about here, which I think Tara was holding an action for you to get there. Tara.
I am going to expend a sorcery point, and I am going to cast Earth Tremor as a bonus action. Kind of standing right about here on the edge of the cave, where it'll be kind of the strongest towards the beginning or middle of that archway. And then I am immediately, once I do that, going to cast or kind of merge with stone, so kind of blend into my surroundings over this rocky terrain.
Okay. Give me a stealth check as you do so. And with your +10 with your merge with stone, be a 19. So you're able to kind of raise your foot and stomp it onto the ground. And as you do so, the ground beneath you begins to shake. You're clearly able to hear and feel some of the rocks of the ceiling of this cave begin to fall down, making a good amount of noise. As you do so, the people that you've been keeping an eye on around this tent, you feel them shift and turn and begin to look back towards the cave. None of them move forward, though. They seem to still be guarding around this tent, but they're definitely looking in the direction of the cave. The two guards that were on either side of the cave entrance, however, move inside and begin to look around and call for anything. Is anybody down there? Is everybody okay? You hear things of that nature, as well as two more people that Arun is able to see easily, as well as Steve and Max. Two of the guards from the other tent seem to be moving towards the sound, heading towards the cave entrance, and they make it to about right there. So we'll revert back up. So, Stone Skull, what are you doing now? You have heard what is going on down here. You hear rocks falling and the ground kind of shook.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check and see what the guys are doing. Do they notice? Are they attentive to it? Are they moving? Are they starting to stir a little bit from it?
The guys referring to the
The
people
ones
you've been
that I'm
around?
with, yes.
Yeah. So they kind of look around and have quizzical looks on their faces, and they all seem to like make a very dramatic and overreacted mimicking of them swaying on the ground and going, "Whoa, this is crazy," and just being very stupid. They're very, very drunk at this point in time. They don't give a shit about what's happening. They're just laughing about it at this point.
All right. With that, because they seem very distracted and very inebriated, I'm going to make my escape and get to the shaded area here.
Okay. Give me a stealth check with advantage
All right.
as you move kind of in the line of sight of the kobolds back here. All right, but you're able to easily slink in the shadows, kind of keeping close to the tent. You hear some voices of some other rambunctious bandits or guards and such inside the tents, but nothing really eye-opening about them. But you're able to easily make it while sticking to the shadows to this area here.
Okay. And then gonna stay here and kind of observe. It's dark, right?
Yes.
So I can't see what's going on in this guard tower here.
There are some torches and lights up there. You kind of see them. Give me a perception check, actually.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you see them up there. You see some torches kind of lighting their faces. You see all of their. It's hard to get out any specifics of what they look like and such, but you clearly see their bodies turned towards the southeast, towards this cave, trying to figure out what's going on down there.
Can I still move, or am I done?
I would say you're done for right now. Right.
Okay.
Now.
Then yeah, that's where I'll end then.
Okay. Arun, what are you doing now? You have heard this as well. You've caught a glimpse of Stone Skull slinking in the shadows below you.
I think the first question is if I kind of understand what's even going on.
I'm only moving into position in case shit goes south down below.
Give me an insight check, Arun.
Insight.
I'm okay with
And
this.
yeah, okay, yeah, I'd say with advantage too, because you kind of know that there's probably something in the works for the rest of your crew. So as you're kind of looking around, you hear this rocks kind of tumbling and falling. You see, what appears to be a major distraction going on. I think that you would know your party well enough to know that Tara's probably doing something. And as you kind of scan around, you see Stone Skull once again moving down below you, moving around the edge, keeping to the shadows. As you're looking across, it's hard to see. You don't really see any specifics, but you do catch the outline of kind of the faint light coming from a few fires in this early area, outlining a dragonborn in this area, kind of holding and braced against something. He appears to have something in his hands.
Gotcha. So at that, I think like the camp's alerted, but they're not really like super reacting yet, right?
Nah, they seem to be cautious, and obviously most of them to the southeast are interested in what's going on, but nobody's freaking out or raising an alarm or anything like that.
Okay. I think what my plan of action would be then is I'm going to move a little bit more up the cliff here, so I'm still within sight of Stone Skull, but also a bit closer to this tower. How sturdy do the towers look?
I like that question. I like where your brain's at.
Excellent question. Let's see how sturdy they are.
I know what that means.
All right, so as you look at them, you see these towers, once again, are about 20 feet high, and they seem to be made from rough timbers lashed together with rope. The rope is not like double or triple layered. It seems to be just enough to hold it together. There are cross beams and such. It seems to be somewhat, sound as far as the structure goes. But it obviously seems like if some of those ropes were taken out in a few places, the tower would come falling down relatively easily.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to kind of just ready myself to let an arrow go at the tower in the event that, like, it seems like the camp becomes like suddenly engaged. I would like to basically be a backup distraction.
Okay, so to try to take out maybe the cross beams of this tower here.
Yep.
All right. Give me another insight check to see if you know enough about this or not.
Okay. Nope.
Unfortunately, you know there's ropes there. You don't know much more than that. You know the ropes could possibly break and maybe it would cause something to happen. That's about it.
But the
Yeah.
idea of hitting him with an arrow, like,
I might take it over there and get my sword out. Maybe I can cut it, or I don't know. All right, Tara, what are you doing?
You said there were 2 guards that went back inside, right?
Yeah, they seem to be just inside the mouth. They obviously
Just
are not
right inside
moving.
the mouth, right? Kind
Yeah,
of maybe
just
shrouded in
inside.
a little bit of darkness.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We are going to be using my final 2 sorcery slots, or spell slots here, or sorcery points, sorry. And we're going to be using twin spells. And what I'm going to imagine is going to happen is some Maximilian's Earthen Grasp is going to come out of the cave floor and just squeeze them both.
Nope. I don't want you to do that. How do I relay that? No. God.
You can shout if you
No.
want to.
You could scream no.
What if I just start banging on the earth real fast? Like, no. Like,
You
don't
cannot
cast spells, because if you cast spells and then know it's a spell.
You cannot see into this cave. You have no idea what's going on. All right, so you're gonna be casting dual Maximilian Earthen Grasps.
There's no way he just relayed that no to me?
Nope.
Right. Then, yeah.
That's rough.
All right.
And then we killed everything.
All right. So these are.
And fuck surprise. We didn't even want to be hidden. We want to make sure
Strength
everybody knows
7
there's a
throw.
caster around.
They're not going to see them. He just said that it's in
They don't
darkness.
need to see you. Oh, readily, rocks fall every once in a while. You know what also happens every once in a while? The earth reaches up and just starts grabbing people.
I hate it when my lawn does that.
Right, every time, man, I go out there to do weeds, fucking clumps of dirt just come up and grab me and start doing 2d6 bludgeoning damage.
That's some fucked up gardening you have right now.
I know, right? It's terrible.
All right, Tara, roll me damage. All right.
I can get more wine. I'm good.
So underneath, you feel the hands come out and snag one of them. The other one's able to dodge out of the way of this grass that comes up. They both take some damage. One of them actually is completely surrounded by this and has taken a good amount of damage from it. With that, you hear the other one that was able to jump out scream back out of the cave towards the rest of the camp. We're under attack!
All right, arrows going loose.
All right. Before we do that, we'll go down to the other two, the 2 Dragonborn brothers. What do y'all want?
I'm gonna beat the fucking brakes off of you if we survive this block.
We're making a distraction.
Oh, I'm like, yeah.
Tara, give me another stealth check with your Pass Without Trace added to it.
Tonight we dine in Arby's.
We got the meats.
All right, 16, got it.
I actually want to move too. Going to kind of just go back away from the cliffside. Don't want to get into range of them, just kind of right there. I don't know how many feet that is on this map.
It tells you if you measure it. You were
yeah, but it's like 100.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, you can move like about that far without overextending yourself. So you're able to move back there, and nobody seems to have noticed your presence up there as of yet. All right, Dragonborns, what are you doing?
I am waiting on Steve to release the prisoner and get him back to the rope so I can extract at least one or both of them.
Right. I'm waiting to approach him more. Looking down there.
No, now. I'm sorry.
And your
Oh,
character,
the meta.
your character should be right here, right?
What am I doing?
Steve?
Bite your lip. You'll be all right.
Steve, or your character's here. Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
wait, I didn't even move.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for these two to progress closer to the cave before I approach more.
Okay.
If no one's noticed me.
All right. Max, you said you're just being prepared up there.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Oh, man.
Max and Steve, as this call that we're under attack rains out from inside the cave, these two begin rushing towards the cave, thinking that the threat is within it. They are not paying attention at all to their surroundings back behind them.
Thank you, Havoc.
As soon as they get to the cave, I'm going to approach and across.
Can
Still.
can I line of sight and see them from where I'm at?
You see, give me a perception check.
Come on. Crush it.
Got a 20. Damn it. I put a DC 20 on that. Okay. How do you see an invisible guy?
Well, I'm not really paying attention to an invisible guy. I'm paying attention to the guy on the cross thing because that's going to catch my attention.
Okay.
So I'm looking in that direction, and I know that we're looking for somebody, but I don't realize that that's who we're looking for.
Okay. Steve, what are you doing as you get up next to this cross and see this guy, like I said, somewhat crucified with rope against it?
All right. So I'm gonna kind of like not whisper, but say it loud enough that he can hear me over any commotion that may be happening around. Mastilios, we were sent by your pupil, Nisam, to get you to safety. I know you can't see me right now, but trust me, I am a friend of yours, not like these savages here that have put you on display.
Okay. Give me a persuasion check.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at these. No, I'm not.
Oh no.
So as you begin to speak to this man attached to this half elf, attached to this rope, he quickly darts his head around. His head was clearly looking back towards the cave, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. As you begin to speak, though, he whips his head around in your general direction and says, "What? Who are you?"
As I'm talking to him, I am gonna attempt to untie him, like not waiting for his response.
So, and this is kind of the point.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you something. Give me
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
if I'm gonna notice it.
Yep. So as you're doing that, give me one more persuasion check, Steve. Nice. Okay. So as you speak to him once again, he visibly kind of calms down a bit. He says, I don't know if I want to be rescued yet. There's so much more I could learn. I've learned something, but I don't know if I know it all yet. You might just leave me. Stone Skull, as he's talking, you see him turn his head back to his left, away from the cave, and he appears to be, speaking to someone. As you're kind of looking around, trying to figure out what the hell is he, or who the hell is he talking to? Initially thinking he's just talking to himself like a madman. You see the ropes around his wrists begin to move around a bit.
All right. And with that, would I have noticed these mercenaries? Is that who these guys are here?
The ones down to the south, those are actually dark-robed figures, the cultists.
Oh, these guys are?
Yeah, the ones down here. I used the wrong tokens, unfortunately. But the ones down there are moving, and they've come out of these tents in this area, and they appear to be moving somewhat enforced, not super quickly, but with a kind of what is the word I'm looking here? Determination to move towards where this cacophony is raising hell down here.
Okay. And still surveying the scene, the drunks back here. What's going on with them?
They haven't noticed anything.
They still don't know anything's going on? Okay.
Nope.
And the guard tower?
Guard tower, give me a perception check. Nice. Okay. So you see them. They all appear to still be looking down this area. None of them have really left the guard tower at this point, though. But they are not
And they're
looking towards
still,
you.
yeah, they're still looking down there. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Since they're not paying attention, I'm going to try to get over here behind these tents so I can get a little bit of a closer view.
Okay. Give me a stealth check with advantage.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Without alerting anybody, you're able to move through and get behind these tents, sticking to the shadows once again.
And do I hear anything in these tents? Are there like people inside of them waiting to come out?
Give me another perception check.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Nice. So as you're moving up behind them, you hear some grumbling and some movement within them. It seems like people were donning armor of some kind or putting clothes on and grumbling about something going on outside. It seems like there's going to be quite a few people exiting these tents shortly to move out and investigate.
And I guess that's going to be all I can do for this round.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Arun.
Can you give me a quick synopsis, I guess, of like what the mood is of the camp right now? Because it seems a little bit less suddenly hostile than I was expecting, but maybe I'm just imagining that.
Give me an insight check.
Not very insightful.
Rough.
Not very insightful, but you're
Not
+4. I mean, you're pretty insightful. You're just not getting a good roll. So you're kind of surveying the area. You notice a lot of people are looking down towards this, and while initially with the rocks falling and such, it didn't seem like there was much alertness, much go-to, kind of action going towards there. But that is slowly but fiercely ramping up as time goes on, especially after the scream that you were barely able to hear of that we're under attack. It seems like things are, going 0 to 100 somewhat quickly.
Okay, because I saw a little bit of what was going on with, the guy tied to the, was it a cross, you said? The guy tied to the cross before. So I think I kind of have like a rough idea of what's going on there. So I think what I want to do is like basically, I'm just waiting until the distraction is about to like curb itself over, and then they might like start paying attention in that direction again. So like, I don't know. You tell me.
So you're trying to.
That might be.
You're trying to essentially keep an eye out to see if anybody starts paying attention to this area.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, there's a distraction over here at the cave now, and what I'm like looking for, I guess, is when they start to like pay attention to all of their surroundings rather than that, then that's when I want to try and knock over this tower.
Okay. All right. For now, it looks like everybody's still pretty focused on the screaming and the sounds coming from the cave.
Okay.
All right. Tara, what are you doing now?
I'm during that. I'm just gonna move up a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I already did what Willie didn't want me to do, so I'm gonna. The hand that missed. I wanted to. Here's what I'm envisioning: just come out of the cave and just snatch this first guy and drag him back in.
All right.
I like that. That's a hell of a redeeming. I like
So
it.
the guy going out, you're gonna reach out and try to snag him. So,
I want them to think that their eggs inside are in danger.
Okay. What's your spell save DC?
12. Let me double check that. 12.
Okay, he's gonna fail. So as he's running out, and
Yeah.
you were going for the one that was screaming, right?
Yeah, the one that was like right at the cave entrance. I just want to like drag him in and make him scream and get even more attention into that cave entrance.
Okay. So as you do so, go ahead and roll for damage. It reaches. You feel the hand reach out, and you're clearly able to feel out where his footsteps are falling, and the hand reaches out and grabs hold of him. Okay, it's not enough to kill him, so he is still alive, and he screams out in pain. He says, "Help! The nursery is under attack. Help us!" And with that, you clearly feel the other two that were standing out rush into the cave to go investigate what the hell is going on. Anything else?
That's it. I'm just going to continue kind of crouching in the tall weeds over here and hiding.
Okay, give me another stealth check while you're doing so. Passive without a trace is still up. Nice, 27. Sneaky as fuck. You look like a lump of dirt right now.
You little CB.
All right, Max and Steve.
I'm going to defer to Steve first.
Okay, Steve.
Still gonna attempt to untie him.
Okay, so you're just untying. You're not cutting or anything. You're just gonna try to unloop the knots.
No, what? I will cut the ropes.
Okay. Give me a melee attack with advantage. So you're using dagger, so just do a d20 plus your dex mod, plus your proficiency, so +2 on top of that. Or just make an attack with a dagger. That would be much easier.
Look, I have.
Let me
I have
make this
dagger.
as fucking complicated as possible. No, make an attack with your dagger. All right.
Please stop using all the words rogue.
Sorry. Roll for your damage. Okay, good.
No.
So you're able to start cutting through the rope. The left side, his left hand comes free as you deftly cut quickly through the restraint on his left hand. It comes free, and he's kind of hanging very awkwardly, and he kind of grunts in pain with all of his weight being pushed onto his right arm now. Max?
Yeah, I'm hanging tight.
Hanging tight. All right. Stone Skull.
All right. So in my position, I'm gonna hold where I'm at and try to stay kind of back in the shadows behind this tent here, in case people come out. Seeing the arm and stuff get freed of the guy down here. The only thing that stands out to me right now, what are the guys around this tent doing?
Give me a perception check. Okay. From what you can see there, like I said, there's a little bit of firelight. You're kind of obscured between the rocks and the tent in front of you. But the couple that you can see seem to still be standing guard. Their attention is slightly turned towards the cave entrance to the southeast, but they are still kind of scanning the area around them. They seem much more on their guard than everyone else is.
Okay. So then I'm going to just gonna, I guess, hold my position until I feel that it's necessary. I need to move and
Okay.
stay hidden back here.
All right. Roll me another stealth check, please, with advantage.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You also look like a pile of rocks.
I do look like a pile of rocks.
So, as you're kind of looking and surveying the area, you hear more scuffling around, and you see two figures or exit the tent right next to you that you're kind of on the backside of. They quickly glance around them, but they do not see you kind of hiding in the bushes, even though somebody kind of squints directly at you. This guy closest to you squints directly at you, but then turns around and they begin to head down and to the southeast as well. A rune.
I like the combat remix, like dubstep remix.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. So what's the? I think because like I'm getting close enough now. What's the attention of the guard tower being focused on at the moment?
Give me a perception check with advantage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So these guys, the two in front, closest or two to the south, are still definitely staring down to the cave. The other two in the back are now beginning to kind of look around. They're not looking towards you, but they are looking down towards the camp, to the surrounding area, kind of getting a general view of the area around them. They appear to be now scanning the area instead of focusing on that one spot.
All right. As I kind of approach that area, what is the just because it's a little ambiguous from the map here, is this kind of built on like a rocky surface, or is it kind of built on like a, I don't know, like a ledge that's, you know, more stable?
It's definitely on a ledge. Where you're standing currently, there's about a 10-foot drop going down to the ledge that this guard tower is built on. Like I said, the guard tower is about 20 feet tall, so it reaches about 10 feet above your head from their perspective. But it's definitely on a ledge there.
Okay, because my thought is, you know, I'm going to be taking a shot at, you know, one of the weaker, like, intersections of the tower, and if I can swing it, I want to choose, like, you know, something that contacts the ground, so I could like remove maybe a supporting structure, and if possible, kind of make it look like it's part of like the rock face being unstable now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the most unstable area is going to be the opposite side from where you are currently, closer to where the rope ladder is over here. Everything else is kind of situated on somewhat flat surface, but at the same time, it is still just a ledge on this cliff facing. So a good shot may cause something to happen.
All right. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm gonna shift myself a little bit more to the side just to get my, like, the most I can possibly out of that shot.
Okay. As you're getting really close to this, give me another stealth check with advantage, since you are still in very tall grass and shrubs and such.
14.
Okay. Not one on their perception check. Yeah, you are hidden. None of them see you.
All right, guys, I really apologize if this goes badly. All right, so I'm going to take
Just
a.
out of curiosity, what would happen if that earthen grasp, say, grabbed the base of that tower and crushed it?
It would have to hit a very it's a strength saving throw. It would auto hit and then have to do
Right.
enough damage to break it, I guess.
How much health does wood have?
I don't know. Are you a expert on structures and wood and such? Would you know how?
Me?
Yeah.
No, not. I was just curious.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Thinking out loud.
Thinking out
Just-
loud. Wonder how much health a wooden pole would have. Oh.
I could be an expert on entering structures.
Yeah, taking them down, it's a little bit more of a niche kind of expertise. So, you know that they're not very strong. You know, these are not thick, 2-foot wide poles. They're not very big. It wouldn't take a whole lot to take them out, but they're solid enough, kind of cedar timbers. They could take a little bit of beating.
Fair enough.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's time. I'm gonna take my shot at the corner most facing the cliff, just because ideally this whole thing is gonna topple down it.
So down on this corner.
Yep. And
Go ahead and make a shot. Okay. You meet the AC. You hit the rope bindings that are surrounding this edge here. Roll for damage as well as your bursting arrow damage.
Okay. Should be built in now. I see that descriptions needs to be updated, but I think the damage is correct. 2 nat 1s on the force damage.
That is unfortunate. All right.
Max on the piercing though, so
Okay. So you won't be able to hit the other corners, but you'll be able to hit the kind of center structure, and kind of envision it going up in kind of cross beams and such beneath it. You are going to shatter the rope and part of the wood binding here. In this corner here that you were aiming at, and the tower is going to begin to topple.
I like how we
Okay.
just escalated to just straight up violence.
As this is toppling, you see two of the guards jump out and land onto the ground. The other two, unfortunately, are unable to escape in time, and they fall. You hear a brief scream as they fall about 50 feet to the ground, and then silence as the other two are laying on the ground, taking a little bit of damage from jumping 20 feet out of this thing. But they are still alive. Stone Skull, you are clearly able to see them roll to the ground and hit hard, and they are not moving.
Okay. It's not my turn, right?
Not yet. Just letting you know, you
Okay.
saw this.
Oh yeah.
Yep, ignore that.
Okay. You've pretty much done everything you're going to do your turn. So, Tara.
I'm going to direct one of the hands to closer. Oh, man.
Do what?
Breaking
You
up
kind
a
of
little
broke up
bit.
there.
Oh, I am going to release one of the guys with one of the hands and direct them to pull this third one that's approaching into the cave.
Okay. What was the DC?
12.
14? 12? Okay.
I wish it was 14. That'd be better.
He is going to succeed, so he's going to jump out of the way as it reaches out for him, and he completely dodges out of the way of it.
Okay. That's my action.
Okay. Max still deferring to Steve?
Yep.
All right, Steve, what are you doing?
All right. I'm gonna try and have him brace on me, so I'm kind of like relieving some of the pressure as I cut the other rope with his other arm.
Okay. So you're going to cut it again, so make another dagger attack. Oh, yeah. You're able to dig in there, give me some damage. Nice. So now you're able to kind of brace him against it. He's kind of leaning on you. You're pretty tall, so you're able to get up to about his waist, into his belly. You're able to put your shoulders up against that as you're cutting the other one, and he kind of slumps forward. He still seems to be moaning, complaining, saying he could learn more. He could learn more. Just give him a little bit longer. But he is just exhausted. He is tired. He is weak. He is basically limp on top of you right now. His feet, however, are still tied to the bottom of this cross.
Okay.
Oh, Havoc, you need to make the other one have a strength saving throw. If not, he takes 4 more damage.
Okay. He rolled a 12, so he is going to take, 2 damage?
Yeah, I think it's half on success.
Okay, you feel him getting very limp inside this grasp. It doesn't seem like he's going to last much longer. And with that, Stone Skull, you've seen these two guys topple off as pieces of wood and timber crash down to the bottom of the hill next to you. What do you want to do?
And seeing that, I'm going to try to remain out of sight here and come around the backside here of this tent, suspecting that with all the commotion here that these two guys are gonna go and check it out, and I'm gonna try to remain silent and hidden here until I absolutely need to do anything.
All right, give me another stealth check with advantage.
Ugh.
Okay. Oh shit, that's not the right thing.
That's rough.
The world of 50 different character sheets once again.
Uh-huh.
Okay. With disadvantage, yeah, because they're painted. All right, so these two guys are beginning to move down, as I said before, down towards the cave. But as this tower, the pillar of this tower explodes and people come flying down, they immediately turn their attention and start turning around to move towards that. You're also able to see 2 more coming out of the tent that they're passing by, and they are doing much of the same, going around and turning back, moving this way. None of them are able to see you based on your location behind the tent there. At this point, give me a perception check, Stone Skull.
Oh,
Nice. You see a good amount of people. Your buddies, your drinking buddies, are now moving this direction. They're moving very slowly, kind of staggering. They attempt to appear to be looking down at their weapons, kind of making sure they're still there. A couple of them are missing shoes and have their jackets barely on, but they are obviously intent on moving down this direction now.
okay. Yeah, so that's going to be my turn, and I'm going to keep my eyes on these guys.
All right, Arun.
So everyone is now kind of congregating at like the area here by where the tower toppled over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me a perception check with advantage, actually. Nice. I love how I give you advantage and you don't even need it. So as you're looking down, you see these two gentlemen have fallen out and are laying on the ground down below you. They're obviously winded, had the wind knocked out of them. They are not getting up very quickly. As you kind of survey the rest of the area, you see some darker figures, hard to see exactly who or what they are down here, moving around due to the shadows of the firelight and your angle. You're able to glance down the hill to your south towards the big tent once again. You see that their attention now is split between down here to where the earth is attacking people and back up towards your attack now to this fallen guard tower. They seem to be paying attention both ways. They are still not moving away from where they're charged to guard, but they are definitely paying attention that way. Give me another stealth check.
Oh,
Okay. You're still hidden. Nobody has seen you yet.
Okay. I think at this point, all of my actions have been somewhat plausible regarding, like the rock slide or whatever they want to believe it is. And I don't have much of an idea of like what more I could do. So I think what I'll do is start to proceed back, like up the cliff face, and with like pretty much with the intent of getting over here to the far side. Mostly only so like the only thing I can really do is cause a distraction, and so it's a much better position to be over there. Potentially even try to do the same thing with the far guard tower. But otherwise, like, yeah, I don't think there's much more I could really do from a position where, like, being as close as I was.
Okay, so just taking on hit and run tactics at this point, just slinking away after doing your work there.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll be able to move away with that stealth check and not be seen. Tara, you're up.
All right, we're going to give another go at that guy with the free hand.
He's going to fail this time. He will be grabbed.
And then just yank him in screaming. And then this will...
Do what now?
So this one will be for both of them if the other one fails his strength check as well.
Okay. He also fails. They both rolled 11s. So 9 damage. Okay, so you feel the one that you've had grasped this entire time, your earthen hand squeezes once again. You clearly feel bones breaking, and this man goes limp inside the grasp. The other one...
For flavor, can my hand throw him back out of the cave like it's spitting him out? And just like make him land right here?
Yeah, give me a performance check.
Nailed it.
Nice. Yeah. So as the hand squeezes and clearly feeling snapping, this man's dead. You're able to kind of open the hand a little bit with a slight backward angle, and then use it kind of as a catapult and throw it out. It flies past the other two that are still alive in there, flying out and landing. He lands. Let's just drag one of these dudes. Well, no, not that dude. He flies out of the cave and lands over here, his body kind of tumbling and ragdolling across the ground.
And that will end my turn.
All right. There is various shouting and screaming and kind of fear entering these people that are at and in the mouth of the cave. You feel this one masked kind of figure beginning to step away from the cave at this point. Steve.
All right. Like, kind of disregarding his pleas to still learn more about them, I'm gonna attempt to cut the rope at his feet, and then with that, kind of fireman carry him, toss him over my shoulder.
Okay. Give me another dagger attack. Yeah, that hits. Dig it in. All right, just enough once again to cut through his bonds so his feet come loose and his whole body kind of slumps down onto your back and over your shoulder.
All right.
You can move about 30 feet or so with him on your back. Give me another stealth check as you do so. With advantage. Oh, no, actually, just a regular stealth check. Okay, a 9.
I still have that.
Really?
I still have the invisible, right?
Yeah, but you are carrying a very visible person on your back. So he's kind
If
of
I'm
floating
carrying
in the
him, would
air.
he not be.
Only at the time of the casting is anything else that you're carrying turned invisible. It doesn't just spread or anything like that. But fortunately for you, the group to your north rolled a nat 1 on their perception check. So
Well, that's because they were looking at
nobody
a
sees
dead
you.
guy flying out of a cave.
Yeah. Even with disadvantage, they would have or advantage. The most they would have seen was 7. So, yeah, you're moving about 30 feet at a time, carrying this man on your back. Max, you see a floating guy now detached from the cross, moving towards you.
Yeah. Continue to wait for them to get to the rope.
All right.
Being rope guy sucks.
Skull, give me a perception check.
Me?
Stone Skull. Okay. Describe what you've been kind of paying attention to as this has been going on. Okay. Okay. So as you're looking around, you don't notice anything to the southeast, further away, where the prisoner was. However, you do see 2 more figures exiting this larger tent and moving towards where the tower fell. The 4 that you've seen up here have grown in number, and you see all of your friends are now moving down together, still quite slowly, but they are moving at a more determined pace down towards the ruckus down to the southeast. They are still moving, but like I said, very slow, not very attentive. Eyes are kind of glazed over. They all look very sleepy and discombobulated. All right, give me a stealth check with advantage. All right, you're able to move through there, and you are not spotted by anyone. You don't see any bodies there. You see the front of the bar, and it looks like the bartender is still kind of leaning on the bar, but that's the only person you see. Arun.
Yeah, I'm gonna moving. I don't know. How far am I realistically able to move right now?
You could probably move. I'm giving you a little bit extra just because you're kind of sprinting around, I would imagine, keeping silent. But I'd say you move about here or so.
Okay, that's kind of what I've been estimating. All right. Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue making my way over towards the other side.
You know, kind of sticking to the long grass and the shrubs and such.
Well, like I'm also kind of trying to get an idea of like where the hell Stone Skull is, because I obviously stopped paying attention to him in all this.
Okay, give me a perception check with advantage. All right, you beat his stealth check, so you're able to see a very large and but somewhat fast-moving shadow moving from behind these tents and back into where you saw him earlier in this early area, and then he kind of vanishes in the bushes there. You're assuming that's Stone Skull.
Okay, yeah. So if that's the case, my plan will probably be to get like kind of in his area and then maybe lower so he could actually get out. But that'll be next turn.
Okay. Tara, back to you.
Couple of questions. Is the other one of these guys still hovering at my cave entrance?
Yeah,
Tara's
one's still.
Cave of Horrors.
Yeah, he's still in there. He's not grasped by anything currently.
Right. Other question is pretty deep cave. Can I sense those eggs that are in them?
You feel like a cave entrance and a pathway going down, not super steeply, but deep enough that your range quickly runs out and you can't sense anything else except for that pathway.
Okay. All right. So the other hand, I want to direct to grab that guy again. The other one that looks like him.
Okay.
Did he save or fail?
Saved. He rolled a nat 20.
What about the other one?
The one that was already grasped.
Yeah, for continuous damage.
He's going to be able to break away and get out of the grasp. So you miss one, you're going to do half damage to the one that you had already grasped. As he escapes, you kind of squeeze onto his leg. Roll damage again.
Roll damage again?
Yeah, he was still grasped, but you're going to do a little bit to him. Yeah, you'll do a whole 1 to him. But you do feel a little bit of a scrape on him. He's pretty hobbled, actually, from that, but he starts crawling out of the cave entrance, followed by the one that you were attempting to grab, who just escaped. You hear them muttering about, the walls are attacking us, the ground is attacking us, the earth is against us, this place is cursed. And with that, they all begin to retreat away from the cave as these dudes are slowly still approaching it, heading that direction.
You need a GTFO, Steve.
All right,
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm gonna ask, do you feel that you could move on your own?
Giving me a perception check with advantage. Jesus. This guy is limp on you. He mutters in your ear. He's like, more time, more time. He is just completely limp on you. It doesn't seem like he could move on his own, even if he wanted to.
All right. Yeah. Yep. So moving on up.
Are you kind of moving as fast as you can? Or are you trying to be quiet about it? Trying to keep him moving? What are you doing?
Trying to move as quiet as I can, as far as I can.
Okay. Give me a stealth check. Nice. All right. You'll be able to double move while keeping him concealed. Well, possibly keeping him concealed. Let's see if they nat 20. They did not. So you're not seen by anybody, and you're able to double move 60 feet.
I envision like I'm carrying him, but I'm slumping him enough that it doesn't look like he's just floating through the air.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to reach the wall at this point. Because like I said, the edge down here, you can kind of see it with the lines and such that are drawn on this map. It starts to get more thick with the grass and such down here, so you're able to kind of hunch over and keep him low, keeping him in the shadows enough that he doesn't show up, and obviously you don't because you're invisible.
All right.
So you have reached the place. I imagine you're aiming for the ropes, right?
Yes, I'm gonna
Okay.
tie the rope. That's
Uh,
Well,
Won't be able to do that quite yet, but you are at the ropes at this point.
okay. I will continue my turn on my turn.
Max, you see them. You see the the limp body down below you, kind of a shadow, moving through the brush and getting up under the ropes.
Yeah, that was that was why I tied the other end into a loop. So all you had to do was put it around up underneath their armpits, and I could pull them up the wall.
Yeah, he
That was
double
his,
moved
like
though.
making the. Huh?
He's out of actions now though.
You can't use an action to throw a loop over somebody.
No, he's essentially
Okay.
using all of his effort and such on his turn to move as far as he can as quietly as possible. So that kind of used up
Okay.
his action economy.
Yeah, then I will wait until he has the ability to harness him because I can't really do much from up here.
All right.
You are a valued
you
member of our team.
you
feel like
essentially are going to get like a double your action economy whenever you decide to move, since you've been kind of patiently waiting. So you are fully prepared when he gets kind of
Yeah,
looped on
I've
or
been
tied
prepared
on
for
or
the
whatever.
last like 30 minutes.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
waiting for some shit to happen.
Okay. Stoneco. Give me a perception check. You see them kind of looking down. They look very confused. They're mostly just gibbering amongst themselves, kind of peering over. You see them kind of hopping up to look over the edge down towards the southeast. They're not really paying attention to anything except like I said, everybody moving to the southeast, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Okay. Give me a stealth check one more time with advantage. Okay. Yeah, your next turn, you will be able to move out of there without being seen.
So yeah, that's going to be my turn. I'll move out whenever I get my turn back.
Okay. You can go ahead and move out now, so we're kind of get to the closure of this, possibly, depending on the rolls. Arun.
Continue my movement. Think about here.
Okay.
No, I don't feel like doing that with disadvantage. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna openly fire on anyone. It's not gonna help that much, and it's gonna be too obvious that, like, something not magical is happening. So I guess I'm just keeping my stealth.
Okay. Give me another stealth check with advantage. All right, nice, noted. Tara.
They are still at the edge of the cave entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're obviously moving away though.
Yeah, no, same thing. Let's check it. Who's getting drug in?
Let's see. That guy failed. The masked guy failed, and they both failed. Shit. Okay, so you're gonna kill the masked guy with your first one. The second one is going to almost kill the other dude.
And get back in my cave.
So I'm imagining the hands reach out once again. This guy in the back is stepping away and just sees these two massive earthen hands reach out and grab both of them. This guy screams as his body is crushed and he disappears into the cave. The other one is screaming and being dragged away back into the cave, but he is still screaming and still alive as he does. Anything else?
That's my action, so that's it.
All right, Steve and Max.
All right, I'm gonna loop the rope that is attached to Max around your friend here.
Okay. That'll essentially be a bonus action for you.
And then use my rope to climb back up.
All right.
Quiet.
So first thing for you, since we're doing yours first, give me a dex check to scramble up the wall. Nice.
yeah.
All right, you're able to scramble all the way back up to the top off the second rope that you lowered. Max, give me a strength check with advantage. Fuck. All right.
Yeah.
So as the rope lowers around him, you clearly see it and immediately turn around and start, jogging away, dragging him up the side of the mountain. You get him all the way up to the top. They are both up here now. And Steve, give me one. Well, wait, no. Both of you give me stealth checks. All right, passed. Cool. So you're able to pull him up, and nobody is able to see what you are doing. So he is at the top now, and you can. Everybody can start moving freely at this point.
As soon as he gets up, I want to start gathering the rope and making sure that the rope that Steve was using is pulled up off the wall.
All right, give me one more stealth check as you do that.
I'm gonna try and force feed him a ration. If he looks like he's not been.
No,
rationed
we
any-
don't need to worry about him eating right now. We need to get out of here.
All right, so we're pretty much moving freely. Just
Yeah.
humor me. One more stealth or one more save on that guy that's still alive.
Okay. An 11. He fails.
All right, I'm going to have both my hands toss them out simultaneously out of the cave entrance, and then get rid of my hands.
Okay, so they both fly out. Oh shit, I can't do that because I'm not zoomed in enough. Willie, give me a perception check, please. Flump. Max, you're able to see as you're pulling this rope up, you see this group of 4 that was heading towards the cave. You see 2 of them look towards the bottom of the hill and begin approaching it as you finish yanking the rope up.
I'm going to drop to my belly and make sure, and then push down Leosin. Leosin, right? How you pronounce his name?
Yes, Leosin.
And just push him, like both of us, like flatten us down into the dirt.
All right, give me a stealth check with advantage.
We got out of that alive.
The 20 is going to do it.
Thankfully.
Yeah, he rolled a 19. You got lucky. All right. So you're able to yank down as you kind of peer over the edge through the brush and the tall grass there. You see them moving a little bit further down, kind of looking left and right. They seem to have lost what they initially saw, and both of them turn around and continue their pathing back towards the cave.
With that, I'm going to just kind of mention, Steve, grab our ropes. I've got Leosin. Let's move back.
And Stone Skull now meeting up with Arun is gonna kind of pat him on the back and say, "Did you see that I won that wrestling contest earlier?"
Nothing else has happened since then.
Literally, in my world, that was it until just now.
The most exciting thing that happened today.
Right.
Some well-oiled Greco-Roman wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I'm going to throw Leosin over my shoulder. I'm going to kind of look, again in the distance because I can't see. Or can I register my own invisibility spell? Do I know where that is?
Yeah, you can definitely tell where the weaves of your own magic is.
Okay. So I'll look over. I was kind of confused. Steve, do you want to remain invisible, or do you want me to drop the cloak?
I think now that we have our person in question up, I don't believe it would be it.
I didn't understand what you said.
I don't.
No.
No, I don't. You can drop it if you.
So with a kind of semi-conscious thought, I'll let the tendrils of magic unfurl. So we should get Tara and get out of here.
All right.
that I kind of peek over the side and watch the last couple bodies get flung out of the cave entrance, and I believe that's her doing.
All right. As you're kind of exiting out of this area, I need a round of perception checks from everyone. Zorn with advantage.
I don't like the sound of this.
Oh my goodness!
And with advantage +5.
I was gonna give you +2 or 3. Yeah, you don't notice a whole lot. All right,
That's because I'm
so
chuckling to myself about what
He's
just
got
happened in that cave.
buried in the stone. Of course he can't.
all
see
right.
shit.
Max, Stone Skull, and Arun, as you're moving around, exiting this area, I imagine, even though I didn't hear it said, you're kind of moving back to where you entered. So back
Yeah,
up to this
yeah.
northeast area. I would imagine everybody's kind of moving that way. The
Yes.
camp is, progressively been getting more and more high alert. You see everybody kind of moving. Oops, that's bad. Kind of moving down towards this cave entrance, trying to, they have no idea what's going on. There's people flying out of this cave. They've been crushed. Some people have reportedly seen some hands coming out of the ground. A couple of guys heard some chuckling in a very feminine voice. They don't know where it came from. The camp is just in mass disarray. As all this is going on, Arun, Stone Skull, and Max, you see as you're kind of making your way around the edge, and then Stone Skull, you can't see it. Sorry.
I was over here.
Okay,
I
from
just
there,
moved. Yeah.
Yeah, you two up there can see that. Max, you can definitely see it from your perspective. You look back down towards this large tent that seemed mostly inert for most of this. At the very end of it, you see 4 figures leaving out of the big tent. You see 2 large half dragon. One looks very familiar with a blue
what
coloring around him.
shit.
You see a black one that's somewhat larger than the blue one that you've seen before that you recognize as Langradosa Cyanrath. You see a human walking amongst them that you recognize from Greenest, being the person that was surrounded by the large retinue of guards that was pointed out as a officer of this group. They all seem to be going around and kind of surveying the area and shouting orders to everyone around them and approaching the cave, trying to figure out what's going on. You also see a balding man with a seemingly tattoo across the front of his forehead. He is wearing a bright red cloak and robe around him, and he seems to be holding a ball of fire in his hand to light the area around him as well. You see just that much before you get over the edge and lose sight of everything, and you're able to exit the area.
Yay, exit the area.
All right.
Cutscene.
Safely.
Cutscene.
So as you make your way out, you hear the ruckus from behind. It doesn't seem like anybody's really venturing outside the camp, though, for whatever reason. Everybody give me insight checks, actually.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus. Y'all
I'm
are bad at this.
fire on that too.
Right.
I've got to
It's been a
stop
long
asking
night,
for that. All right.
It's been a long
Max,
day.
you're able to kind of discern that for the way that distraction was laid out, it seemed like everything was coming from within the camp, within this cave entrance, and nobody seems to be worried about a external threat. So as you move away, you don't hear anybody chasing or getting closer to you as you move back down the path away from the camp.
Nice.
AKA Zorn's plan somehow worked.
Right.
Zorn's
I got
plan
the
was
guy over my shoulder,
brilliant.
kind of turning around at the
Alright.
last second and hearing everybody milling around but not paying any attention to us. All right.
I
So,
just kind of chuckle to myself and keep walking forward.
so the current plan is now to head back to Greenest?
Yes.
Okay.
Quickly.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
With expedience.
With bravado. All right, so you're going to be able to go there. Need 2 of y'all. Who were the Max? You're one. You didn't get to do a whole lot. Arun, you're probably the second most, even though you got that. So both of you roll me a d20, please.
Oh no.
Nice, you were aiming high. So you're able to get through and head back to Greenest. It takes about a day and a half to get there. Being able to rest and nurse Leozen here, Leozen to proper health, get him some water and food and water and such into him. He's still very incoherent as you're traveling on, but you're able to make it back to Greenest undetected by anyone. You don't see anybody kind of following in your tracks or anything of that nature, and you make it back to Greenest. And with that, that is where we're going to stop tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
only 3 people had to die. Well, 5 people had to die.
Back in a minute. All right, guys. With that, that is going to be the end of our session here tonight. Thank you guys very much for watching. We will be back on Thursday for RPG Thursday, 7:30. And then beyond that, next D&D game is on Saturday for Civil War Alliance, also 7:30. Then we are off. Don't forget, off on Sunday because it's Super Bowl Sunday. But then we'll be back here next week on Monday, so all will be well again. I very much, very, very much appreciate every single one of you guys being here. With that being said, let's see who is on. I'm gonna just go ahead and send this over to Dr. Lupo. He is on right now. You're welcome to join him and enjoy his stream. Hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you, like I said, on Thursday, 7:30. So hope to see you soon.
Lupo, you was right. Ninja no love you no more. That's not what I said. Not at all what I said. Play Fortnite, no.